this yourself. It's extremely dangerous.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the UK League Championship. My name is Jake Kipray Matthews, and I'm joined by Conan Scoundrel Low. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, mate. Yeah, no, I was fired yesterday. Borja fired me for one day.
But you're back.
Yeah, I'm back. They decided that I was good enough to bring back, to the UKLC. I know my casting is a little bit subpar, but I was hoping I'd get invited back.
I mean, you got me here. This is the home. This is the kingdom of
subpar.
subpar.
If any of you haven't seen this, by the way,
no.
go to Dom Sacco's Twitter, and you can check out some of Jake's finest casting. I'm not going to repeat it live on air because it's not quite appropriate for broadcast. But if you go to Dom Sacco's Twitter, he has linked a wonderful clip of Jake's casting, which actually had me in tears. So go and check it out. It is really funny. It's an iteration on Wham Bam Thank You Ma'am, but Jake put his own twist on it. You know?
I didn't mean to, by the way. I didn't even notice I did it.
Just like the rejuvenal beads.
Yeah. I thought you actually could. That's a clip I will never share. Anyway, guys, if you missed any of those games yesterday and you don't just want to get that one clip, you can head over to our YouTube channel, LVP UK, where you can catch up on all of the previous games. And yesterday we had 5 games, and they were 5 scorchers. It was so good.
Scorchers.
Scorchers is the word I'm going
What temperature?
It was hot. It was spicy.
How hot? Give me the centigrade, baby.
Let's say wait, which one's centigrade and Fahrenheit? Because one's like
Jake,
one we use
you're
the
British.
high numbers, one's
Jake,
where you
you're
use
British.
the
Use
low numbers.
centigrade.
Oh, so that's the low
So
numbers.
centigrade, 0 is freezing, 100 is boiling.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know, man. We were like good 75, maybe.
That's like lukewarm.
80.
Get this guy off the air. Anyway, guys, if you are going to want to contest Jake on his Celsius usage, you can go to the Twitter at LVPUK, #UKLC, and tell this man that he thinks that Fahrenheit is even a real measurement and he should be shot and thrown off the, broadcast. Not actually, though. I don't condone that in any way whatsoever. It's just a turn of phrase. Exactly.
I know it's a turn of phrase, don't worry. But we actually do have more going on over on that Twitter as well. We have a competition, which we hinted at yesterday, but it is our Easter egg competition, and you've got a purple chroma, our colors here at the UKLC, available for a Bullet Angel Kaiser skin. We've got 3 of those up for grabs.
Which is a pretty cool skin.
And yesterday we hinted that there was a Easter egg, and no one really understood what we meant by the Easter egg. We saw a few tweets here and there that no one particularly got it, so we're going to be a little bit more obvious with what that is. So Tibbers will now demonstrate to us what our Easter egg is. You will be looking for... Oh, perfect timing.
That was nice timing. At some point during the broadcast, you will see Dan Orcs Harrison's head appear. It's not going to be on Tibbers, this is too obvious. But at some point during the broadcast, Dan Orcs Harrison's head will appear. And once you see that, you've got to go immediately to Twitter and use the hashtag UKLC and at LVPUK and let us know that you've seen it and where it was.
You have to screenshot it.
You have to screenshot it as well. So make sure you send it over or whatever. Just as long as you let us know where it was and all that kind of stuff. We just need the evidence. The first 3 people to do that will get the skin. And I'm just going to do my best Dan impression, actually. Bring it back.
Yeah. That's a squat and a half.
Hi, I know everything about the UK scene and League of Legends. And I say book.
All right, it's good. Well, it's not actually going to be quite the Easter egg, but we do get to have a little look at Orcs' face as he's going to break down everything but what could happen here in the next few weeks.
You've got a book for us, Dan?
You just break things down, and I've made this little presentation for you guys because it got really confusing as to where teams can end. I think I got it wrong as well, so I went over it. I took a lot of time on this, so if it's wrong, then I may as well get fired. But either way, these are the current points for each of the teams. So you know, Diabolus at the top, Darkspawn at the bottom, and then all in between. This is how many points they can still gain in week 6. So we have the 4 teams who are still in the semi-finals who can get 4 points. We have Diabolus who can get 1 more point if they manage to defend. They've already received their 3 points for being on top of the tower. And then the teams who've been knocked out can get 0. Week 7, every team can earn 5 except Diabolus. If they defend twice in a row, they will get that extra point. And these are the highest totals that they can receive. Now that's all confusing, it's not really relevant, no one really cares about that. The important thing is the highest and lowest placements. So the ones that I've highlighted in blue here, they can all get the first place spot. And the crucial thing is that the team who comes first will get a guaranteed spot at the play-ins of EU Masters. So Diabolus, Fnatic, M&M, and XL can all get that first place spot if they have perfect weeks for the rest of this week and next week. And then Enclave and Phelan, if they make a miracle run, they can still make playoffs. It would end up knocking XL out. That's what I've notified here. So these 3 teams are guaranteed in playoffs. XL is the one that it's still an uncertainty because Enclave and Phelan could either of them take their spot. And then down here, these are the teams that are potentially going to be up for relegation because they could finish 8th or 9th, which are 2 relegation spots. So those teams still have a lot to play for. And I mean, the thing is, you see colors all over it. Every team has something to play for still. So action's still going to be intense. But yeah, thanks. Hopefully that was helpful. If not, then, you know, whatever. Back over to you, Jake and Sin.
He just called me Sin
I said
as well.
Sin and I can't.
He just called me Sin as well.
The whole studio shook there.
What was that, son?
Sin, I can't pronounce your first name. I went for
Kiernan.
Kiernan,
He
right.
called him Sin.
Sin?
Not even close.
What else?
Hi, I'm Stuart McLeod.
I'm gone.
Call him Kieran. If you like really can't get it, just call him Kieran. Like, not Sin.
That's okay.
All right, Sin.
It's all right.
Talk to me about...
I was going to tell you a story about in A-level chemistry where I got called a specific variation of my name.
Okay.
And it's sometimes a name that you would call men who work in the Navy.
Okay.
But I'm not going to repeat it on broadcast because it's probably not appropriate. But let's just say that my A-level chemistry teacher called me in for my very important A-level exam. And instead of saying Kieran, Keeman, he said the variation of that word that is also a old mobile phone developer.
Oh, Lord, I forgot about those guys, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not going to repeat it on stream because I don't want to get fired. I've already been fired once. I don't want to get fired again.
I had a maths teacher who used to forget my name. He thought I was called Luke. And he wrote on my report, you know, ignoring all the horrible things he wrote about me, he wrote Luke, and my mum went, "This isn't my son."
This is not my son.
My son isn't called Luke. So she asked him to change it. So he then changed it and gave it back, and it just still said Luke. He really didn't know my name. He was my maths teacher for 4 years. He still doesn't know my name.
Oh, I'm going to call you Luke forever. just like, this isn't my son's report card. Oh. Still Luke. That's great.
It's the theory that every boy looks like they could be called Luke. Look
Wait,
at everyone.
Have you just made that theory up?
No, I can't remember who told it to me, but if you look at everyone in that studio over there, every one of them could be called Luke.
I don't think Dan looks like a Luke.
I think he does.
Borja probably.
Borja definitely pulls the Luke off.
Do you think? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get on with today because we are going to be jumping into XL versus Enclave, which is going to be our first match of the day, Jake.
And I mean, it's going to be a very exciting match. Ignoring the whiteboard that just got destroyed by Orcs. All of the stuff he had on there written about how Enclave, if they have a miracle run, they can still make playoffs. They could still potentially make European Masters. XL, a team who we thought would be able to make the
I don't think Enclave can make European Masters.
They can make third, and then if they win the tournament...
Sorry, I thought you meant the first place. I was like, that's
they can't get it through points, but they can
Yeah.
get it through making playoffs and then actually get a miracle run through the finals. It's still within their grasp. XL, they are still in the area where they could make 5th, and if they make 5th, that's them just like, I mean, they're not done, they're not relegated, but
I mean, it's XL in the UK
this is
scene.
Kasing in exile,
Yeah, I know.
and they're currently in 4th in the UK scene.
Yeah, it's pretty huge. So, as you said and heard from Orcs, everything to play for. Now, those results, even if there are perfect results for Enclave, it does rely on other results going their way. For instance, like XL not getting any points next week, etc., etc. So there are still things to happen, which we'll go over as we get through. But pretty huge deal that, you know, every game matters in some way still in the UKLC so far, and XL still not secured in the top 4 spot. They've had a dismal 2 weeks previous to this. They've got to shape things up this week.
I mean, their game versus Bulldogs, while it was possibly one of the best games we've had here at the UKLC, if you're XL, you're looking at that going, that was the worst game we've had. That was a 1-point team, almost beating them. They had like a 10k gold lead. They completely outclassed XL in multiple ways. XL just outscaled them, and you actually play towards one of the things we've said they've been weak at is closing their games out and actually playing towards the late game. Typically, they're good at the early game, and then their later game can be a little bit shaky. It was completely the opposite way around yesterday.
Let's have a look, because I think something that we criticized from XL yesterday was their draft specifically. They kind of just let Bulldogs get everything that they would have wanted. And Dan mentioned it to me before we came on board, because he was like, if you think that Mystique's Thresh is like his comfort pick, they let Bulldogs get every single one of their comfort picks. Like their best champion in every role, like Bulldogs had that. And that's why it was such a difficult turn, you know, for XL to have to actually come against them. Even though they've got players that are arguably better caliber than the Bulldog players, they still let the Bulldog players have exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, and it shows you, giving even a team who's bottom of the table's comfort picks, they can still perform against a team like XL. But picks and bans have been rattling away. Well, we've been rattling away as well. Lucian, Jarvan, Kindred, Elise, Yasuo, and Silas all going to get banned away, and XL now looking for their first pick here.
Tax's Ivan, I remember that quite fondly over the last couple of years. He's played quite a lot of that, but it is going to be a very solid pick for XL specifically. I mean, first picking Rise is not something that you'd see a lot of teams do, but first picking Exile's Rise is something that XL will do almost every opportunity, so that's what they've gone for straight away here. Yeah,
giving him that comfort pick, had a great performance on it when he moved over here as the mid for XL when they switched him special around. So comfort pick for him. It's been banned away pretty much most games against this team, but Enclave, they pick up the Galio as their most likely support. Still technically a flex, but most realistically going to go in the support. See what else they can get in this power pick here. Yeah, well, obviously we've seen some target bans. I mean, Visek has had that Kindred ban against him almost every game that we've seen him play so far, which I think is a very sensible ban. And it looks like, obviously we know Galio, I wouldn't say Galio's as much of a flex as it used to be. I think it's almost certainly going to go support. They're going to go for the Galio Gragas here. Now, I envision that Gragas is jungle, but like you said, there is that potential for flexibility here, and that is something that XL will have in the back of their mind looking at this. You can make a pretty educated guess that this is going to be Galio going to support and Gragas going jungle, but there is always that off chance that Galio somehow goes mid and we have Gragas support. It might throw a couple of spanners in the works for XL. I feel though, looking on paper, when you look at Wisek, this is a... If he hasn't had Kindred, he's pretty much played Gragas exclusively since then. And yesterday I said it in their game, Wisek is a player who, if he gets on a champion like the Gragas, his early game is so disgusting to deal with. But they do go for the Sejuani. Taxa had a good game on it yesterday, and we're going to see Kasing get his hands onto the Braum. Yeah, this is actually a pretty solid draft, very blue draft coming out from XL so far, but this is a very solid draft. Doesn't give too much away, it's very flexible. Rides can fit into multitudes of compositions, 1-3-1, team fight, he scales quite nicely, got a good mid game. Sejuani is what I like to call the skeleton. I call this, last EU Masters is kind of what I described Sejuani as, and she still fits that bill. She's a skeleton key jungler. Yeah. She kind of does everything. Like she will fit any composition that you want her to fit into, and she'll do pretty much anything that any team can kind of demand from her. She's great in a 1-3-1 because of the ability to disengage. She's got great team fight. She's a really good frontliner. Sejuani just kind of does everything. So XL haven't given much away with their draft so far. They haven't said they're full scaling. They haven't said they're full 1-3-1. And again, this is now offering over not much in terms of ban strategy for Enclave going into this next phase. Well, we do see Enclave in their final pick lock in the vein, denying that from Inax. We saw it yesterday on him. I think he went like 11-1 or something. He went incredible KD. He even sold boots and went Triforce at the end on the Vayne. Looked phenomenal on that champion, but
he hard carried, really.
He hard carried, yeah. I mean, he basically pulled that game back from the 10k deficit. And we see Enclave go, okay, let's not get him a hyper carry like that. Let's not get him into that late game. So they're going to take away the Vayne. They do ban away the Relia. I'd like to see them maybe make another AD ban and just try and force Inax off something more high priorities. They do take away the Kalista from it.
Yeah, the Kalista now comes off the table because, again, Vayne is shorter range AD carry. If you go Kalista Braum in lane, it's very easy to abuse that. And Kalista Braum is one of those lanes that if you get on top of your opponents in carry, you're going to give them a bad time in lane. So we're going to get rid of that kind of lane dominant with Lucian gone as well. You're now looking at Inax to sort of say, well, what have you got left in terms of trying to be dominant in lane here versus my Vayne pick? And also you can either match it like, I mean, not many people will do this, but Monk, you would match Vayne with Cogmore, for instance, in terms of late game scaling. But I don't think that's something that Inax is likely to do here. So Inax has now got to go back to the table and say, what AD carry can I pick here that's going to give me either equal scaling potential with the Vayne, or give me something that I can put pressure on her in lane?
I feel like you just go the Tristana, but you could pull out something spicy if you want to go to just the win lane and like go Draven or something. But
Draven,
I don't know if
is
Draven's
fine.
in Inax's kind of wheelhouse here.
Well, interestingly, we do see the Yorick come through, which actually is early on. Now, Yorick is only ever going to go top, and XL have not drafted their top laner yet. So really, with knowing the fact that you know, unless we're going to see a Yorick mid, I mean, I'm throwing it out there, but we're going to see XL play Rise. Actually, Enclave have thrown away any red side advantage, arguably, in terms of bringing a counter pick to the table here, because XL now have counter pick top lane, and they have the ability to now pick the AD carry that they want into the Vayne matchup.
Yeah, well, they do take that Tristana. Governor now 3 games on that Yorick, and he's got 100% win rate on that. So curious to see what XL look to try and answer out. And will they be the team to finally beat this Yorick? Because it's had 100% win rate here in the UKLC. 6 games played, 6 games won. Looking to see what their answer will be to that.
Well, Renekton's banned out, so you're not going to have anything that's going to be super lane dominant here. If you're looking at Sendo, I was not expecting that, but that's a very interesting pick.
You could flex it and send the Sejuani top, potentially. I feel like you probably want to go for the Jax just for the 1v1, but
I think you take the Jax top. I think you want the gold income, you want to... and I think Sender probably feels comfortable in that matchup in particular because you can just dodge out the empowered basic attack. You know, when he tries to go in on you, you've got the ability to jump out of the ring if you need to with a ward. You've got ways to get out of Yorick's grasp, and you're going to match him with split push pressure as the game goes on. So that is something that you always have to be aware of when you're playing into a Yorick, that he's going to be a split push monster as the game progresses. You're going to have that ability to match him on the Jax, you know, as you progress. And again, like we said, it is going to be the Cassio picked last, which is a very standard matchup into Rise. I don't know why you needed to wait until last rotation to pick that up. That is just such a standard kind of 50-50 matchup in a lot of instances. And most people, I mean, you go back 6 months, a while, you know, 6 months, and you would have seen this matchup all the time, right?
Yeah, it's also a comfort pick for Warzy as well.
Yeah.
He's looked very good on it. And if I do look at Enclave, I look towards... they want to go late.
It's hyper
they want to go real late.
That is hyper late, yeah.
And if they get on a Baron towards the late game, that Baron will just melt. You don't even need Mountain Drakes. You've just got a Vayne and a Cass just shooting silver arrows, spitting poison out. It's going to go down real quick to those two.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a hyper late composition. You've got Vayne, you've got Cassio, both of which are super late game scaling carries, and then you have the front line of the Gragas and the Yorick, both of which Yorick is also kind of late game scaling too. So yeah, I don't think there's much space in the early game here for Enclave. Now, what we need to see from XL is to shore up their early game much more than they have done previously. Maybe Enclave are saying, well, actually, we've seen XL be bad in the early game. We're very happy to take it to them in the laning phase, look to scale up past 30 minutes and say, hey, this is our win condition. Whereas XL, Tristana scales okay, but she's not going to scale into the damage output the same way that Vayne will, especially versus a front line. So you've got dive potential with Tristana onto the back line, but it's a very Inax style of play, but it is a risky style of play. However, what Tristana can do is be dominant in the laning phase with that explosive shot, being aggressive with the jump, you've got the Braum to back you up. You can look to take control of that laning phase with the extended range versus the Vayne quite easily. And then they're going to transition to a 1-3-1. So what I think XL want to do here is get ahead, top and mid especially, get ahead, 1-3-1 it, stop them from scaling.
So do you feel that we're going to be playing around with the junglers? They're going to be just focusing towards the bot lane, look to try and get the Tristana going, or would you like to see Sendo go somewhere else on the map? Why is it go somewhere else on the map?
I think if you're Taxa, you go anywhere that you can. Look for opportunities. Don't focus on one particular lane, because every single lane is important. So you want your Jax to get ahead, you want your Ryze to get ahead specifically, because with double teleport, your natural transition is going to be into a 1-3-1 scenario. I'm being told by production, Borja, that we have a tweet interrupting our very important analysis. Let's have a look. I'm so hyped to watch the boys take on XL today. We have grown so much as a team this split, and I can't wait to see their performance in this week compared to that of week 1. Go team.
I mean, their week 1 wasn't terrible. They had to play Fnatic at the top of the tower, and then I believe they had to play XL instantly after that at the beginning of week 2.
It was a rough week. Yeah.
It was a rough 2 weeks for them. But at the time, I remember us all saying, wow, that was surprisingly good from Enclave. We thought it was just going to be a convincing win for Fnatic. We thought it would be a complete stomp by XL. But Enclave have, this entire competition, always put a fight up. And while their points might not reflect actually how good they've been performing, I think they are a team who have shown themselves capable of going toe-to-toe with these bigger teams.
We've got the unsung hero from last week, by the way, and we are going to bring that up on screen so you can see. Yesterday. Unsung hero from yesterday. Let's take a look. It is Achu coming in here, 8-1-5 from Feline Gaming. He had a really, really, really good game.
He looked very, very good. It was really hard to choose between him and ADM, I believe, in that game, because ADM was on the Vel'Koz and had just like an incredible game. But all of our MVPs and even now our unsung hero from yesterday were all 85% kill participation. There was so much fighting yesterday, and I want more of that today. I want more action today. I mean, there's so much on the line for all of these teams. I feel like they're just going to be hungry for blood. And let's have a little look at our rosters. XL starting up with Sendo, Taxa, Exile, Inax, and Kasing, and they will be going up against Enclave, Governor, Wyzik, Warzy, Kevo, and Raisins.
I think in this game, if you're hoping for kills, it's going to be XL that is driving that. But Jake, we are on to our first game.
Ooh, baby. So much to fight for. Diabolus will be watching from the top of the tower, as our 4th and final game will be the Tower Challenge. That's what all of these teams are playing towards. XL need to try and get some redemption. Currently sitting in, I believe, 3rd. I think I said 4th at the beginning, but I believe they're actually 3rd.
Well, based on points that they've gained?
On points at the moment. And a lot of those points came from the beginning of the season when they had such a great start, but it's just gone wrong, worse and worse for them each.
Well, it's been the last 2 weeks specifically has been really rough on XL. They brought down Exile and things started to pick up a little bit. Then they brought down Kasing and things got worse somehow. You know, maybe Mystiques was one of the driving forces behind a lot of their success, but overall, you know, I think XL are a caliber of team that should be performing much, much higher than they are right now. And again, like you said, if you want to see some kills this game, it will not be Enclave that are bringing, unless there are kills that are being offered on a plate, it will unlikely be Enclave that are offering those kills. They want to sit back and farm. They want to scale. There is no part of Enclave that says, hell yeah, we want to fight in the early and mid game. They need 3 items on Vayne. They need, you know, 2 to 3 items on the Cassiopeia.
Now, the team comp might not say that, but Wyzik would. Wyzik is a very proactive early jungler, and him and Warzy have had fantastic jungle mid synergy all tournament long. So while maybe their team comp screams, maybe let's not fight for the first 15, 20 minutes, there's part of me that thinks maybe we'll see Wyzik go for some proactive plays along with Warzy.
Well, as a jungler, if things are being offered to you on a plate, you take them, right? I mean, there's no other way around it. You know, like for instance, if Sendo's overextending like crazy, you just say, okay, I'm going to go top and take the kill on Sendo. It doesn't matter what the team composition is. You can see Inax trying to... That's what I mean, going aggressive onto Kevo here. You just need to jump in with an explosive shot. Level 2 can be very, I don't want to say, you know, pun it, but explosive for XL should they find an opportunity to get another stun over onto Kevo. And that's something that you've got to be worried about if you're Kevo and Raisins. You know, you are going into a lane that scales kind of okay. I mean, not kind of okay. Tristana scales really well, but also has that laning presence as well with the explosive shot.
Don't know about you, but League of Legends is very weird without sound. Have you not got sound?
I've got sound.
Oh, I think DogChamp's doing my audio then, because I have no game sound.
Yeah, actually, it was an executive decision.
Quiet.
Executive decision to bring in DogChamp as one of our production crew.
Hopefully,
we actually had DogChamp assessed for intelligence, and it was shown that she was probably better than 50% of our production crew.
Well, already Taxa looking for a play on to Warzy. Not going to find anything though.
He finds the flash and the cleanse. That's a pretty sort of big deal. 2 summoners blown. Now you're going up against a very immobile mid laner. You just return when you get the opportunity. That's a really nice bit of early pressure from Taxa. And Visek actually had a really rough first clear. Cleared the top side jungle and had to back immediately. And actually means that he hasn't got the ability to take on that Rift Scuttler, although he is going directly down to the Rift Scuttler now. And Taxa not able to match that. So he's got away with that back early on. And now he's actually going to head to mid himself.
Wysek maybe looking for the belly bop, does have that flash, goes in, lands it in, but Taxa's on as well. Exile low HP, Warzy finds first blood, and Inax jumps in to follow up, gets a reset, hop over onto Wysek, but he's just too healthy. It's a 1-for-1 mid lane.
I mean, it's not the best case scenario for Exile there. They end up losing Exile very early on, and I think, you know, if Exile had been positioned slightly better, maybe flashed out of the body slam, or not flashed out of the body slam, but flashed a little bit earlier, maybe he would have kept himself safe. But what is important is that you're looking at giving Inax the potential to carry. And Inax has always been one of the major driving forces behind Exile's wins. Yesterday you spoke of the fact that he basically solo carried the entire team. And if you give Inax this early kill, and you can look to extend his pressure in the laning phase, that's a good thing for Exile. Giving Inax any kind of early lead is a good thing for Exile.
Now, we did see Exile teleport back into the lane, so he's been able to catch a wave and keep himself at least relevant in CSs. Just seeing what Wysek can do once again, just always threatening the play as Taxa now making his way towards Governor. Has been spotted out on this ward, but Sendo can look to get him with a counter-strike.
Yeah, it was a big minion wave there. Oh, that's a huge amount of damage onto Warzy from Exile. Too much of a minion wave there, I think. Although that's saying that Sendo's still going in.
Taxa's been very proactive early, but it's going to be Governor's flash forced out. Sendo being aggressive in the lane. Is losing some CS for it, but should be able to catch that up fairly easy. He's got a wave pushing into him for the moment.
Yeah, you can see that really Visek has been so adamant to spend his time mid, backing up Warzy. Maybe that jungle duo combo coming a little bit too much into his play. Whereas, you know, like I said from Sendo, from the very get-go, Sendo goes where there's the opportunity in this game. Every lane is important to him. So going top there to get an advantage for Sendo, going mid to get an advantage for Exile. Any advantage that you can accrue in this game for Exile is going to allow you to transition into that 1-3-1 a bit more aptly and a bit more proactively in the mid game.
And he's managed to have 3 ganks so far. All have been successful if you think about the summoner spells. He's been able to force out the kill he was able to get for his team. And he's staying equal in CS to Wysek. He's only been able to do 2 ganks, I believe, so far. So,
and both of those were mid, right? So,
yeah.
And although Visek did get something out of it, the rest of his lanes are starting to struggle. And BF sword back immediately now for Inax in that bot lane. That's a huge back for him because it's going to give him the potential, you know, once you get to level 5 or 6 to really threaten that Vayne.
But we do start to look at the items. Exile, because of that early death and that TP he had to use to get back into lane, actually just sitting on the double dark seal, so hasn't actually got his tier to stack up quite yet, which does mean it'll be a little bit slower on getting that item finished up. But Wysek now, sounds like he's been listening to you and he's thinking about going top lane, but the wave is just a little bit too pushed.
Yeah, well, actually, Sendo did a really good job of freezing that lane on the top side of the map, actually using Counter-Strike to just make sure he pulls the minion wave into the correct position. And it's left it in a wide open area for Taxa to actually make a return back. After taking red buff, he can move up through the jungle, head towards that top side of the map. And if Governor isn't careful, that's a really easy gank for the Sendo and Taxa combination, especially as Taxa should be able to hit level 6 on his way up.
Yeah, those level 6s is going to be the big thing to track here. You can see what kind of plays they can do with that. But for the moment, Taxa just wants to get his hands onto the Rift Scuttler. With the priority that he's got in the bot lane as well, it does mean if anything goes awry, they'll be able to quickly rotate and help him.
Looks like there is an aggressive push to get some vision down in that blue side jungle for Enclave. This is not only going to help keep tabs on where Taxa is specifically, but also it's going to keep Governor a little bit safer. You know, should you see a rotation from Taxa up to that top side jungle.
Look at the mid lane though, Governor and Wysek's coming in. You can see Wysek's put the turbo boost on Exile, goes away with the miasma, cancels him out, he's trying to turn it around now. Taxa has joined up with him, and Exile with the phase rush is just enough movement speed to get himself out.
That was a good response by Taxa there to help save Exile. Exile almost up creek without a paddle. But unfortunately, they don't manage to capitalize, and Governor really hasn't had much opportunity. Sendo reacted really well to seeing Governor rotate towards the top side of the map, although wait a second.
Warzy gets caught, that's going to be the ultimate by Taxa. Instant cleanse out, the shield's going to come through, and Warzy gets out with 35 HP.
Oh, that's rough. I mean, they had that flash. That flashlight, sorry, wasn't available for Taxus. He couldn't actually push on and get the kill there. And enough is enough for them. They're going to try and take the Dragon with the pressure that they've created. And this is something that I do need to praise XL for. Although they haven't actually converted much of the pressure from the jungle into kills, what they have done is use the pressure in the lanes to generate things like neutral objectives, even if it's just Rift Scuttlers, just getting a little bit of extra CS, just putting pressure on in terms of freezing lanes. It's a good job from XL.
Saxo, you good, dude?
He's got Smite.
He's got Smite, okay. Yeah. He's fine. Next Drake's going to be an Infernal. They've got that Cloud Drake, which is going to be nice because of how proactive Tax has been on the map. How much we've seen the bot lane also roaming. Kasing came to the mid lane play in that one we just saw. Inax was there for the first Blood one. So that Cloud Drake does mean they're going to be able to move around the map a little bit quicker. Try to be proactive in those plays. As we do look at towards this top lane here, Sendo with CS lead over Governor. He's got that tier map finished up and he's looking to scale pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, there is... CS leads in both the mid and the top lane, to be honest, and those are the lanes that you do want to be doing well. It's nice to have Inax doing well, although he is even with Kavo right now. But having your two solo laners in a double teleport composition do well is really good. Like we've mentioned so many times before, you know, the ideal scenario for XL is to go 1-3-1. And even if we get to a later stage of the game, we don't want there to be a situation where you have to team fight, although there is a sort of a potential gank in the top lane right now.
Well, it's Kevo and Raisins. You did see that Warzy, I believe, was seen on a ward, but it doesn't matter. The Justice Punch is in. Kevo has the counter-strike on for the moment, can't quite stun enough targets, and Kevo is going to be able to get himself the kill.
Oh, Sendo with the coin flip. Didn't expect the rotation early on. I think they tried to pull Governor out of the bad matchup more than anything. Oh. And they're avoiding that laning phase spike, you know, between Kasing and Inax. The best response for XL right now is put pressure on this bot lane turret, take it and get the rotation too. But realistically, this has been a great play for Enclave because they're now going to get plating on the top lane for free too.
Onto the Vayne as well, who wants these items under her belt. You can see that the flash is back up for both Warzy and Exile. No cleanse though for the moment for Warzy, which could be a little bit of a problem for him.
They're just going to take the blue buff here. It looks like they're trying to trade blue for blue. They know that the Visek rotated down to the blue buff spawn of XL, so they want to get a rotation and a trade in their own favor. And then I'm going to rotate down to bot. They need to take this first turret to get anything out of this very proactive rotation coming out. The one thing that you can say is that Governor has been denied more CS, which, you know, could be of importance. A little bit worried about Sendo showing himself on the top side of the map, though, because you can see Visek is still hovering around. Think he's soloing out Rift Herald, too. Massive, massive... Oh, a little careful, but I've got to praise Enclave for being so good at responding on the map and actually making a proactive play that's worked out so well for them. Yeah,
they should be able to get this turret here. I don't think the rotation's going to be quick enough from the XL bot lane, especially with that Demolish as well, although the wave for the minions is a little thin here for the moment. So they actually might have to wait one more wave, and that might just be enough time for XL to hold out, but with Wiser getting the Rift-tailed, should be able to crack that turret nice and easy. Every time we look mid lane, Warzy is in such a hairy situation. Taxa jumps on, the cleanse has been held because it's down, and Exile finds the kill.
That was a really nice play from Taxa. They waited for their opportunity with Sendo rotating down. Sendo's even going to try and get some of this jungle camps with the Tiamat. Governor has to come and respond. There isn't any direct response from XL for the Governor rotation, but that was a really nice play knowing that the cleanse was down momentarily for Warzy. It was very close. And now they're going to look to push and try and get a bit more pressure on this mid lane turret.
I mean, Inax is getting free plates in the top lane as well, along with that first turret at Blood. He's looking to get a lot of extra gold under his pocket. I did actually miss when we toggled how much gold he had, but looks like a rotation is coming in, and Isaac, he's put that Predator on. Inax could be on the receiving end of a gank. That's going to be the belly bop. The Glacial Fish is in, and Inax uses the ultimate to get away, flashes away though, but the tower shots is going to be enough to get him out as Kasing flashes away, and Enclave find themselves a kill.
XL have got apps. He's got no arms.
I love that one.
That's so good. I mean, XL have really neglected river vision on the top side of the map, and that has been biting them in the butt every single time. That has been a free rotation from Visek. It happened with Sendo, it happened again with Inax, and they've given up top lane turret for it too. That was just a massive mishap from XL. They really didn't need to be that far extended with no river vision.
Well, that's going to be the turret going down. You see the Rift-tailed got a charge off in the mid lane. Let's give over a few plates here and there. Sendo, half HP, probably not going to go for the flank right yet.
I'd be worried if I were XL. You've just given 2 kills over to Kavo, who's now finished his Blade of the Ruined King.
Yeah, and you're already sitting on double daggers, pickaxe, and a BF sword, building towards that Infinity Edge, but it's a ways away, and Kevo pulled himself ahead in the gold lead now towards this bot lane. but I'm still concerned about Warzy on this Cassiopeia. Exile
50
so far ahead.
CS ahead. I mean, this is Exile's rise. And he's just going in, and it's nothing you can really do about it without babysitting him.
Oh.
Nice dodge of the ultimate too there. Oh.
Sidesteps the ulti. Infernal Drake's coming up as well. Warzy's just used his ultimate, and it cost Exile nothing. It's a key tool down for them for the moment. It looks like they might just have to concede this, but want to try and take out a few of these wards. Taxa does have ultimate that cleanses back up on Warzy now.
Yeah, but there is no cleanse on Kavo at this point in time either. So if you can get him without flashing, I think Exile just forced this dragon. I think they are strong at this point in time. Really, the Vayne is the only person that you have to worry about. So if you can get Exile onto the backline to put pressure on the Vayne, he's got what, three levels on the Vayne. He's got plenty of damage. I'd be worried if I was Kavo in this situation, and I do think Exile is stronger and strong enough to force this, especially without the Cassiopeia ultimate.
Well, you can see the wave got pushed in, so Kevo goes to catch it, and as soon as he shows, Exile pull the trigger and go for this Infernal Drake. Can see Sendo's had to go deal with Maiden and Governor in the top lane, but next Drake will be another Infernal as well.
Exile just need to continue putting pressure on, try and find a way to stop this game stalling out, because that's the worst thing for them in this scenario. You've already given an early lead to the Vayne. You don't want to let that lead accelerate. The best thing the Vayne wants is for you to be stuck in a status quo where no turrets are going down, you're bouncing waves back to Kavo who gets them for free, and you're not taking anything with it. The Infernal Drake is a good way to sort of ask questions of Enclave, but if Enclave aren't willing to answer, you need to go a bit further than that. You need to start to put pressure on other objectives. You need to group up. You need to take advantage of your item spikes in the mid game. And especially now Exile's finished up his Archangels and we've got the Infinity Edge on Inax. This is a good point in the game to group up and say, hey, siege turrets, hey, support a team fight, hey, get deep vision down in the enemy jungle. These are all good things that Exile can do right now that will start to ask questions of Enclave, who are very happy to sit back and farm.
Well, you can see Taxis joining up with Exile here, but it's a 2-2-1 so far for the moment, and it's Sendo in the 1v1 versus Warzy.
I think it's fine to now rotate top as a 4, because remember, you're in a strong position in this game right now. It looks like Exile's just trying to zone the Vayne away, at least threaten the presence to the Vayne, and that's going to give a bit more time over to Inax and Kasing, who are trying to push up this top lane turret.
Governor's taking so much just free poke from Inax.
He doesn't really have that much armor to speak of right now. He's gone a bit more of an aggressive build here. And actually, Kavo and Raisins have decided to head back towards the mid lane.
Just looking to catch that wave. Don't want to lose too much here. Too much free gold on these waves and give up a big chunk of tower damage, but this will just mean XL are able to take down this turret here in the top lane. That'll be the second turret of the game. They even want to take out the maiden, but Sendo here might be in for a bit of trouble. Q's to the blast cone, is able to get his way over. It's not like a Rengar. Have you ever seen that one? Where he auto-attacks the plant out of a bush and he just goes whoop,
bounces
in and
straight
out.
back. Yeah.
Yo-yos in and out.
Yeah. That's a good start now for XL, because they are now putting pressure on the top side of the map. And what you saw from Taxa and Exile was just a constant pressure in the enemy red side jungle, making it difficult for Kavo and Raisins to commit to the rotate. Because if, let's say Exile catches out Kavo on the rotate, he's probably dead.
Yeah.
And so you have to be very wary about your rotations if you are doing them blindly through your own jungle when you've got a very strong Exile on this rise and Taxa backing him up. And this is just smart play from XL. They're just saying, okay, we push top lane, you've got a wave that you have to catch, and Vayne is going to want to catch that wave. She goes to catch it, you then rotate mid, you take the tower, and just like you see, 2 towers for free in a very short space of time for XL. But it's not enough. They are still only about 2,000 gold in the lead. They need to keep pushing that.
The question is where is that gold as well? I mean, you've got to think that Exile's got a big chunk of that with his massive CS lead in that mid lane.
I'd say XL's got the majority.
Yeah. I would be inclined to agree with you there.
So we are now starting up the 1-3-1, it looks like, with Exile heading towards the top side of the map, having the teleport up, Sendo also on the bottom side of the map. And this is kind of where Exile would have liked to have been at this stage in the game. They've got two strong solo laners who are hitting item spikes, who probably beat their counterparts in a 1v1 scenario. And then you have Inax, who is keeping toe-to-toe with Vayne, and is actually stronger at this point in the game than Vayne is.
Yeah, and closing in on that rapid-fire cannon, only about 700 gold away from that item, will just give so much extra range where he can just free poke Kevo before Kevo can get in range. Because if it does get into a close range fight, Kevo should be able to get a pretty effective trade.
Also, you've got to remember that the only person that actually wants to split push in the Enclave composition is Governor. If you're pulling this into a 1-3-1 where you force Forcey, one of the the major late game carries for Enclave to stick to a side lane. It's a little bit like Orianna syndrome in a split push game, where Orianna is stuck in a side lane clearing waves. That's not what a Cassiopeia wants to do. Cassiopeia ideally wants to be in a team fight, grounding enemies, protecting the Vayne, giving peeling potential to the Vayne. And, you know, this is a built team fight composition, you know, in essence, without the governor. But keeping us stuck to a side lane is everything that they don't want. So if XL could continue this and actually get something from it, and, you know, with the pressure that they've got bot lane, they should be able to get another Infernal. And then they can translate that into a Baron and then go 1-3-1 again. This is a game that XL can accelerate over the next 10 minutes before we even get to a stage where Vayne is relevant.
But that is what we need to watch, is how, if they can actually stick to that game plan, if they can accelerate this game and keep themselves on top of Enclave. Because if Enclave get that wiggle room, get that time that you were talking about earlier on, they could just farm into a point where Cassiopeia is a monster, where Vayne is a monster, and Governor in the side lane is going to be able to split push for days.
It does look like they're grouping up for this Inferno. Maybe they feel like they are strong enough now with the Archangels finished on the Cassiopeia. You've got the Triforce and the Yorick. You know, maybe they feel like, oh, wait a second, Taxa!
They're going in for the fight. That's going to be the taunt onto 2 members. Glacial Fish is out. They condemn one in. The belly pop's huge! Massive cleanse! And Kevo's a kill! He gets himself a double kill so far. And Exile is in the wrong place for the moment. Raisins is chasing him down, but it looks like Enclave, with 2 quick kills, able to get themselves a massive teamfight win.
That was a huge Cassiopeia ultimate, though. I mean, no, we've got Kevo pulling out the dab there, but that was a huge Cassio ultimate.
What was even bigger was the Wyzik ult. He ulted Inax into the Cassiopeia ultimate, and as soon as it wore off, he belly bopped him. They just chained the CC onto Inax, and he couldn't flash away.
I feel like that was just an overconfident play from XL in general. I feel like they just thought, okay, we're strong enough at this point in the game. We don't really need to worry about coordinating our team fight properly. We don't need to worry about their chain CC. We could just go in and win, right? We've got XL who's really far ahead. They got punished so hard for that play.
Hey, XL stole that.
Punished so, and that's awful because it's another 2 kills over to Vayne. She's now Blade of the Ruined King Gwynsu's. Let's take a look at that replay. All good start for XL, right? This is great, but yeah, watch this. Great ultimate, belly bop into Cassiopeia ultimate, and immediately the focus from Kevo was onto the right target. XL was doing nothing because he felt like he was being zoned out by the Vayne. That was beautiful chain CC from Enclave. That was a teamfight played to perfection at this stage in the game.
I wish we could see damage, because I reckon Inax probably did about 100. He was just CC'd the whole fight.
I think he was too aggressively positioned. I think they were worried about diving the Vayne too much than they needed to be right now. I don't think you need to worry about diving the Vayne at this stage in the game. She only had the Blade of the Ruined King finished.
Look at the pings. They're pinging around Baron, but it looks like they're just stepping away. Just want to get some vision control around there.
Vayne is 700 gold ahead of Inax.
Yeah, it's not going to be very good for them for the moment. Let's see what items also coming through, as Taxa does have his ultimate available. They're going into Raisins. The concussive blows are up, and Kevo uses his ultimate. That's going to force them away.
That's rough, actually, from Enclave getting forced to use that ultimate. But again, it's a short cooldown, and unless XL can do anything with it in the next few minutes, I wouldn't be too stressed if I was Enclave. Again, you're just having waves pushed into Kevo. He's now got a gold lead on his counterpart AD carry. I mean, it's not awful if this goes late and we get a 3-item Vayne, as long as XL are able to continue 1-3-1ing and generating pressure that way. But, you know, at some point in the game, Cassiu's going to go 1v1 really easily versus the Ryze. And at some point in the game, Governor's not going to struggle, or at least will be able to hold his own versus the Jax.
This is one of the things Orts was talking about the Vayne yesterday as well. Now that Gwynsu's and Blades picked up, your build path is fairly flexible at this point. You can go for the Phantom Dancer if you want to have, like, a little bit more attack speed. You can go for the GA if you want to have that survivability in a fight and a bit kind of safe option. There's still a fair few items you could go into, but you're not particularly set on which one you go next.
I mean, I think if I was in her position, I'd be looking for maybe the Phantom Dancer. I think I'd be more worried about a 1v1 versus the Jax, or more worried about trying to kite backwards against the Ryze. The GA is not so much that much of important to me, because I feel like if you're in GA and you're popped in GA, your team's probably lost the team fight anyway, and they're just going to position around you and kill you. I think if you're going up against a true assassin, then maybe GA is worth it, because they're just going to kill you in the backline instantaneously. But I think if you're playing in this particular game, having that ability to 1v1 and reduce your damage versus the guy coming at you, probably a bit more relevant for a Vayne in this particular circumstance.
I mean, if we do look at the gold here, you can see...
I mean, Rapid Fire wouldn't even be that bad either.
Rapid Fire actually would help for a little bit, kind of give you that range you're lacking. But I just want to go back to the gold, as you can see it on your screen. The mid Exile versus Warzy is still a point where if XL play around Exile, he could actually really do some serious work for this team.
Well, this is the conundrum that I think XL are in. Maybe they feel reluctant to teamfight because of how the last one went, and then they don't think that XL has got the potential to really sort of single-handedly carry versus the Vayne at this point in the game. So they want to continue to 1-3-1, but again, they need to get something out of it, and it looks like they're trying to now.
Warzy's going to get his flash force. Did hold the cleanse though, but that's the flash down. So nice attempt there from XL.
Governor's rotated up, actually. But something that we haven't talked about is Governor's TP is off cooldown, on cooldown, and Sendo's is not. So there is a small period here where XL could force something, and the response from Sendo would be much, much quicker than the response from Governor.
Yeah, he's kind of just clearing out a few camps here and there where he can get them, but it's been quite a while since we've seen a turret go down here for XL. They do have a lot of damage onto that top lane, tier 2, so if they can find that opening, they might be able to get that down.
This is the sort of the limbo that we're caught in. XL does manage to get that out. He's got to be very careful.
On.
So much damage. I mean, this is how strong XL is. He's basically putting XL on his back right now on this rise. And now XL have caught Enclave on the rotation. And if they can keep this here, and if XL rotates, they could even go for the inhibitor turret.
I mean, Phase Rush plus Spellbinders just means XL has no problem dodging dodging that cask. So nice from him. They do get a bit of damage onto that tier 3 in the mid lane. But they take down the turret in the top side, and now they're just opening up the map. You can see from the vision toggle, it's all blue. It's all Exile in this top lane, and it looks like they want to try and get their hands onto this. As Sendo, he's just going to solo the Cloud Drake as well, improve that movement speed. And XL are taking 2 neutral objectives at the same time across the map.
I think actually they might have caught Enclave unaware here. They get the Dragon, and maybe Enclave just think they've gone for the Dragon instead of the Baron. This is a complete bait. Maybe there's an attempted steal here.
They spotted them out. Wyzik, gets ulted by Taxa, and that will just be the Baron going over to XL.
That was a really, really good play from XL. All of that slow progress, top and mid, the pushing of those waves, the catching out of Enclave, forcing them to push into their own base, then having to catch those waves for the Vayne and the Cassiopeia specifically, bought enough time for XL to make a very quick rotation. And remember, all of that pressure that they've kept in the top and mid side of the map has allowed them to continue to maintain complete vision control and vision dominance over the red side and also the Baron pit area, which has allowed them to get that Baron for free. That was such a clever play from XL and a really nice use of the pressure that they've been generating over the last 5 minutes.
And now the concern comes from, can Enclave actually deal with these Baron waves? Vayne, short range, does mean that you kind of have to get quite close to the wave and put yourself in a potentially dangerous situation, or a situation where you're at least going to get poked by the rapid fire from Inax. And then Cassiopeia with the increased magic resist might have a little bit of a harder time cutting through these minions. It is one of those machine gun mages, so you do have a little bit more consistent damage, as you can see here, but it is single target, mainly with those Twin Fangs.
All right, we're going to get rid of the Maiden, which will be nice. Or at least I think we're getting... Well, yeah, we're getting rid of the Maiden, and now the minion waves are going to start to crash into this top lane tier 2. Oh, sorry, bot lane tier 2. It's the last tier 2 left on the map. And XL now have a brief moment with this Baron, where if they can get enough damage done, they might stop this game ever becoming an issue with the Vayne. It's already at 3-item Vayne, so we're already at issue territory if you're XL. You do need to be very, very wary. She did go for the Phantom Dancer.
XL is forced, he's condemned, and he goes down. The shutdown goes over to Kevo as well. It's going to be big for him, but XL, in the meantime, looking just to get themselves onto this turret. Governor gets caught by the Glacial Prison. Redemption's coming in, and Sendo launches into the backline. Raisin tries to Justice Punch to safety, but not going to find it. Sendo jumps away. Wyzik, casks available, splits up the team. Sendo and Taxa still at the front, though. Inax untouched, and XL are able to walk away.
I think if you're Exile, you're happy to trade your life for an inhibitor turret in the bot lane, especially because Sendo is winning that matchup right now. And he is got to be a little bit careful. He's not the tankiest Jax in the world. He's kind of reluctantly avoided any kind of tanky stats.
He's gone Spear Sojin is what he's building towards. It's so good on Jax.
It's really, really good on Jax. Needs to finish that, though. He's still only on the Killer Gem and the BF Sword.
Alrighty, well. XL. You can see Inax has now got that static shift, so he's got the double Energizer build.
Yeah, hardcore wave shoving, which I think is what is winning XL at the game right now. Exile's now going to push towards the top side. Very, very low on that top lane inhibitor turret.
20 minions away from the Flame Horizon. You can see Inax gets Buster shot away to safety, and that saves his life as Sendo going 1v1 with Governor.
He
just gets the solo kill as Kevo is looking to take him down, but he stuns him
Oh,
up. Sendo does not find himself the kill. Now the inhibitors are getting focused out. Exile is taking the turret in the top lane as well, so they can rotate towards that top side. All 3 inhibitors are now left exposed. The health bars are low for Exile, but Exile gonna step away, don't want to risk it, don't want to throw the game out the window here. And they're gonna cool off the Jets.
That was a big play from Sendo. It bought so much space. Kevo felt like he had to react to the 1v1 versus Governor, which bought 2 inhibitors. Because Kevo had to react, it bought 2 inhibitors for XL. That is a big Baron power play. 4 minutes 30 on both inhibitors. What can XL do? Can they get that final punch through? Because they're going to need an objective to either bait Enclave out or give them obscene power in a team fight. Because I still think that at this stage in the game, I mean, I think Vorsi is too far behind, but you're looking at an almost 4-item Vayne. At this stage in the game, can you actually go for a full-on team fight 5v5 versus Enclave, despite them being 7,000 gold behind? You've got a 4-item Vayne almost to deal with. That is a huge deal that XL have to respect.
That Spear of Sojin is now up finished though for Sendo, which means his counter-strike is on a very short cooldown when he's got ulti up.
And Kevo does not have sums.
Kevo has no sums. Inax has a QSS and all his sums. It actually might not be as dire of a situation to fight if they play around that for the moment, but they might just step back. They know that their Baron's coming up in 1 minute 30. They know now with the 2 waves of supers pushing for them, they do have a lot of priority on the map. And
I think you can let the minions win the game for you, right? If you just get the next in Baron, you can probably just let the minions do your job.
Yeah.
Without having to go too ham on a team fight situation, which, like you said, is okay, because they do have lots of potential to lock down the Vayne, but it's also a risk taking on a 4-item Vayne, you know? And I think by the time the next team fight rolls around, we will be looking at close to a 4-item Vayne. Going for a GA, I think.
Exile's gone for the Sorcery Elixir as well, so he gets that bonus true damage to these structures.
Ooh,
so he's going to be pretty horrible in the side lanes. And you can see the Enclave are playing around that. Wiseek puts on the Predator, gets locked down, and Exile just stands still, holds fast. 1v3, this man is an animal.
Absolutely.
And Sendo's just ending the base.
Oh, Kevo's going in.
He's throwing the ultimate down. They've got the hero's entrance on. The knockup's not going to land on any members for the
That's
moment.
a big
Sendo
knock-up.
is on the flank. They're going in for the fight. The health bars for Enclave are low, and Raisins is being melted by Inax. A double kill for the Tristana. Governor is next on the menu. Wiseek's going to be able to get himself one. It's a triple kill, though. Picked up for Inax. Wozzy's going low. Not low enough for the Quadra, though, but the base might just be forfeit here. XL have managed to take themselves out Enclave, but they need to kill out these last few members. A great condemn goes on to Sendo. They're trying to get a few glory kills, but Inax is focusing the Nexus down as it falls at 30 minutes.
Ooh. You felt like that was touch and go for XL that game. You really did. I think a lot of those awkward mid-game team fights where they gifted over so much gold to Kevo, I was in my head, I was thinking, bloody hell, XL, like you're giving him an inch, he might take a mile.
It was so on and off. And even in that last fight in the Nexus, I was like, they're going for just the Nexus here. And Kevo could literally just rip through them, but unable to pull that win out for Enclave. But also, if we look at XL, I was better than what we saw versus Bulldogs yesterday. Much better.
What I like from what XL did here is it wasn't so much about wildly cleaning up team fights. They had a game plan, right?
Yeah.
Their game plan was 1-3-1. I don't see too many UK teams make 1-3-1 work to the extent that it should, and XL definitely did right there. They pushed both those side lanes, and really I think a lot of that pressure was driven specifically from Exile with the 50-odd CS lead that he gained over his counterpart and then translated that into side lane pressure. That was really nice to see from him. And speaking of which...
Yep, he is our MVP. Exile, fantastic game on the rise. 1-3-3, not quite the highest kill participation we've had this week on MVP, but I mean, I want to double check that, but I'm fairly certain he Flame Horizoned Warzy in that game.
I think it was definitely close, and I think the kill score doesn't really tell the kind of pressure that he had in that game. And I think even if you look at the kill scores in general, XL was still 2 kills behind Enclave in total, so it wasn't really a kill-orientated game. This was a game that was about a strategy to shut down any kind of teamfight opportunities that Enclave could find. And generating that sideline pressure, XL starved every global objective away, and then also with the Baron made a huge power play to go and get 2 inhibitors and leave the last inhibitor open. So it was just really good stuff from XL, and avoided the kind of situations that put them in the toilet in the early game, which was those full-on 5v5s where they just couldn't actually perform to the same level as Enclave.
It was a massive improvement, and I think what we've seen the last few weeks from XL is they've been kind of pulled down to the level of who they're playing, and they're willing to go nitty-gritty and just start fighting them. This time they went, you know what, let's not play your game, let's play our game, let's play for control. So, I mean, it was a fantastic win for XL, and they are going to be our first team to make it through to the finals to see who is going to take onto the Tower Challenge. But we still have another game. We have Phelan versus M&M coming up after the break, so don't go anywhere. See you in a minute.
heard Twitch chatter complaining about my shirt and how it's wrinkly. I was just told by this gentleman here. Now, there are many reasons, but I'm going to go through them why my shirt is wrinkly. Number one, it's this weird linen Italian shirt that I bought when I think I was in Venice, and it doesn't iron very well. It's like one of these like summer shirts that's like really light, so I just, you know, I can't iron it that well. Second, I did iron it, but then I wore my coat over the top of it coming here today, and then obviously didn't get changed from starting to finishing, so it's got a little bit wrinkly. And thirdly, the wrinkles cover the area of my body that Twitch chat used to complain about. So
Which area is that?
the bipples. Right, we're going to be jumping on to our next game. It is going to be Feline versus... And Twitch chat, I'm explaining this to you because you guys triggering me with the ironing. Who even owns an iron? Feline versus Eminem.
Clearly not you.
I do actually own an iron. My partner has made me iron things.
Oh.
She doesn't iron either, so we just have an iron that no one uses.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I think I've seen her use the iron 3 times.
That sounds like a lot of things in my life where you buy some, like, we need one of these, and then you just never get to
I've got
use it.
so many things. I've got so many things in my house that I bought and just never. I had a mini fridge, right? I thought, okay, when I moved into my new place, when we bought our house, I set up an office. I put soundproofing in it with like fiber wool insulation things and like, you know, like free the foam. I had loads of foam. I had loads of foam all over the place. And then I bought a mini fridge. I was like, I'm going to be in my office all the time. I'm going to drink loads of drinks.
I can't walk from the office to the kitchen.
And I prepared chicken and put it in little Tupperware boxes and put it in my fridge. I never used that bloody fridge. In fact, so much so that my dad came round to help me put shelves in my airing cupboard. And he looked at this fridge in my office and said, did you ever use that fridge? And I was like, no. He's like, I'll take the fridge as payment for doing your shelves. And I said, do you know what? I've used the fridge like once. Have my fridge. There you go. That's one of the things that I bought in my house that I just never used. Have you bought anything in your house that you've never used? Tell us. Hashtag UKLC. And let us know if you've not used things in your bloody house. Right, let's move on to League of Legends.
Yeah, I mean, that is, I guess, what we're here to do. So this is a pretty big game because this may well be the game that decides playoffs. Because if Feline lose here, they cannot make playoffs, and our top 4 teams will be locked into place. Not between each other, but they will be definitely going to playoffs. It's all just going to come down to who comes where for the matchup. So Feline, they still have a hope, but they really need to just come out and get the win here, and then they need to beat XL, and then they just need to win.
There's lots of things that need to happen for Feline.
It's ambitious, it's hard,
but the ladder starts here. The ladder starts here for them. I mean, it's a long ladder filled with many tumultuous situations, but this is where it starts. That first rung needs to be taken, and that first rung is beating Eminem, who are actually on a bit of a hot streak over the last couple of weeks. Eminem have been performing really well. I mean, we kind of said that the top 4 teams were very likely to be Fnatic, XL, Diabolus, and Eminem. I don't think many people would have pegged it in the order that we've got it right now, with Diabolus being absolute kings of the hill. But Eminem beating XL as well is not something that we would have saw before this split started.
Here's the big thing, is that as I said earlier with my great whiteboard demonstration...
Wait a second, Orcs. I've been looking around. It's because I left my water over there. I'm just going to go get it.
Okay, I'll just talk. Yeah, so those 4 top teams, they can still end up in wacky orders. I mean, Fnatic and Diabolus are definitely going to stay in the playoffs, and Eminem are as well. But the big thing is the fact that all 4 of them can still make first place. Sorry,
my mouth gets dry when I'm around you, so I just needed to. I needed to get a drink.
All 4 of those top 4 teams can still make first place, and then if they do, they get that guaranteed spot in the play-ins for EU Masters, which it's not just the fact that it means you're definitely attending EU Masters, because you can obviously want to get that group stage spot from playoffs, but it just means it's a weight off your shoulders, because obviously that is the goal for all of these teams, is they want to get to EU Masters and represent the UK, and hopefully not in like we did last time, but
hopefully that's not in EU Masters, guys. But yeah, obviously being the champions of the UKLC is a huge deal too.
Yeah.
But with every team, you're always looking to take that strive to the next level of competition. And the next level of competition for a lot of these teams, beyond the LEC sister teams who have a direct access to the LEC, is that EU Masters competition where you fight versus the best in Europe. So getting that guaranteed position, a little bit like I think Enclave did from Forge of Champions, is just such a big weight, like Orc said, lifted off your shoulders. You can go into the playoffs with one less piece of pressure on your shoulders, and often that can help you perform better as well.
Because that's the thing, is that going into the playoffs, it's like it's do or die. You can if you have a bad day, that could be it for you. A bad series, one mistake could make the difference. So having less pressure on you. I mean, some people say pressure makes diamonds, but I think having that security on the back of you definitely is nice.
Doesn't pressure just make diamonds? Even if you put enough pressure with enough carbon, you get a diamond.
Yeah, that's what I said, pressure makes diamonds.
Yeah, but you said some people say, is that just not a fact?
Well, I'm saying it's a saying.
Oh, it's
a
a
saying
saying.
that people
Right,
say.
yeah, got
You
it.
know, it's a saying. Pressure makes diamonds.
Ah, okay, yeah, sure. Oh, yeah, I get it. Yeah, get it.
Yeah.
Took me like 2 seconds. I'm just being an idiot, to be honest. Right, we are going to be jumping. Yeah, just me. We are going to be jumping into draft as soon as we physically can. We're going to have obviously a really. We're having a few delays just to draft, so we'll get there eventually. So let's talk a little bit about the road for XL now, because we know that they've got that win. They've got that win that's given them some extra points on the board. They are obviously in contention to lose their playoff spot, but that win that they just picked up will lift a bit of weight off their shoulders going forward. I mean, I think that might almost guarantee them a spot in the playoffs if M&M lose here, I think.
It's a bit of a dicey one because I think they are now on the same amount of points of M&M. If M&M lose this one and then Phelan go on a miracle run.
Or we could still see M&M, Phelan, and XL in some sort of weird tiebreaker scenario.
Yeah, it gets very messy.
It's muddy. Dan ruined the whiteboard and threw it on the floor, so we can't even bring that back to talk to you about
But
it.
either way, if M&M win this, then XL are completely secure and fine. If XL lose their next game, but then get 1 point next week, they're fine. So they're pretty secure, but they're not 100%.
They just need to not int the first round again.
Yeah, and the thing is, under other circumstances, if you said before the split, oh, they just need to get 1 point, everyone like, well, yeah, but XL have been really hit and miss at times.
They've had 2 weeks where they got 0 points. So it's like they didn't look great versus Bulldog yesterday. They looked better versus which just forgot, Enclave just today, just now. And that for me, I still think they were making massive mistakes in terms of early to mid game. I think they gave away a lot of pressure.
I mean,
in
the other
early
team
mid-game.
had a 7-0 Vayne.
Yes, always an error.
Yeah.
And those are things that you can't do versus the likes of Fnatic or even versus the likes of Diablos or M&M because Monk as a 7-0 Vayne is gonna
win.
Or
Or even worse, a 7-0 Cogmore.
Yeah, even though a 7-0 Cogmore, he's going to win. So you can't make those kind of errors, and that's something where we've kind of got to look to XL. But what I did like from that last game, and something I talked about with Hitbrain, was the fact that they obviously had a strategy, and they actually played that strategy. They didn't back out of trying to activate their win condition, and it worked out really well for them.
Yeah, there were a couple of mistakes on it, but they did get it overall. But we are going into the next game, which is Phelan against M&M. I think I'm just going to call it 100%. M&M at some point are going to ban the Vlad away. You saw BB Muffin on that. He entered early, but then became super strong. So I think that's going to come at a point. The Lee Sin, they're actually targeting Soft first. So he's someone who really likes the Lee Sin. He likes these early pressure junglers, things like Lee Sin, Rek'Sai. So taking that off the table, they don't want to make him, let him have a big impact in the early levels. And the Aurelia, taken away from Chibs, who has had some really great performances on it. It's not quite as meta as it used to be, but it's still picked fairly often in Chibs.
Target ban for Chibs.
Yeah,
almost
Chibs
all
is
the
just
time.
picking it despite that, and he's very confident on it. And then seeing, I think Yorick's a big one because we saw in the last game that Jax picked against Yorick. Bear in mind that BB Muffin is the sub. He is the mid lane sub. He's been put top lane. I wouldn't want to play that when I'm off roll, like a skill matchup into the Yorick where you have to sort of win out. So it makes sense to ban that away. Because it's definitely a win condition that Mummers could have, and then...
There's the Vlad, yeah, as you said.
Unsurprisingly.
What's happened to Aragon, by the way? Why is he not playing this week?
I think he's on holiday.
Well, holidays are important.
Yeah, so...
So Mummus has been... I think Mummus has played Aatrox the last 3 games that M&M have played. I'm pretty sure that he's played Aatrox almost every single game.
I'm not certain on that, but could well be true. We see the Silas pick very early, and Mummus is someone who likes to play that top lane, so we could well see it there. Or the mid, it is a flex. Snuggly instantly taking a Braum, and this is something we've seen just rise in priority more and more because this last week, people have been first picking or picking on the first rotation this Braum, so people really liking his strength, the way it can block a lot of autos and disengage, and Alistair quickly coming in for Shogun.
That's a big Shogun pick, something that he's very comfortable on. He's got great engage sense when it comes to using Alistair. He's got great laning presence as well. This is just a comfortable draft so far overall. Feeling very quick to lock in the Xin Zhao for Sof here. Then going to follow up with the Tristana Braum lane we just saw from XL. What do you make of this first draft phase? Because I think we haven't seen much Xin Zhao for a few weeks now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense for Sof. Like I said, he's an early game jungler. He likes Elise and the Rek'Sai, they're banned away.
Yeah.
He hasn't really been the one to pick up the Elise as much, so it makes sense that he wants to go towards Xin Zhao. It's not played that much by people anymore, but Sof is someone who's happy on it. And then the Tristana for Achu makes a lot of sense. He played Jinx yesterday and had a lot of success, but I think a lot more freedom on the Tristana, especially into things like the Alistair.
Very high play rate on the Lissandra with a very high win rate for the UKLC.
Yeah, I mean, it's a strong pick. even with some games going the other way. But Chib's someone who is very confident on Lissandra. And then we had very quick bans. So talking the junglers from Phelan, getting rid of the Skarner and the Gragas from Nalty, and then the Vel'Koz, which is ADM's pocket pick, and the Zoe off the table. And this is his other pocket pick.
His other pocket pick has come through.
Yeah.
Actually, he's been defaulting back to those pocket picks for the big games that Phelan have had. The Fiora lock-in comes in for Phelan. BB Muffin taking Fiora to the top lane. Somehow Lucian made it down to the 5th pick on red side for M&M. Monk's got his Lucian.
That
Fiora
is...
BB Muffin. I have no
that
idea.
It just gains so much pace at the end. And I mean, okay, the Aurelion Sol makes a lot of sense for ADM. Some people have said he used to be a 2-trick Vel'Koz and Aurelion Sol. Vel'Koz off the table, he goes for that. The Fiora is a decent matchup into the
Silas.
Yeah, you can outscale him. The ult for him isn't that useful because obviously you need her Q to sort of make the most use of it. BB Muffin on it, it shows a lot of confidence that he's willing to take this matchup because Mummis is one of our highest skill top laners who likes those carry matchups. And then leaving the Lucian getting through all the way. It's just they clearly focused on the junglers and didn't really think about it. So now we have a situation where there is a very aggressive lane for the side of M&M, but it's not like we've seen them sometimes have questionable early levels and then come back because they have a Kog'Maw later on or a Kai'Sa. They don't have that. They have, you know, the Lucian who isn't the best scaling AD carry. He's not really the one to 1v9 a teamfight late game. He can, but he's not a hyper carry. So it does mean that M&M are going to have to play more early focused around their composition, especially when you have Olaf Lissandra. We saw Fnatic Rising play that combo a lot. It's great early. It's so strong. 2v2 is really good. When you roam, one of them's immune to CC and one of them can go invulnerable, but they do fall off later on. Lissandra's damage isn't that great and Olaf just becomes like a bit of a beefy wall, but not even that strong compared to some super tanks.
Yeah, I think when you look at the Fnatic carries, you've got Silas, Lissandra, and Lucian.
The M&M carries.
So M&M carries, Silas, Lissandra, and Lucian, and you're saying, okay, those are the 3 carries. Silas, okay, can scale, but the rest of them, you know, pretty mid-game orientated.
Yeah.
We're looking at rotations to the bot lane with Lissandra, 4-man dives, rotate out in lanes, get turrets early on, and it's snowball.
Absolutely.
I want you to talk about Feline. What is their composition saying to you?
Well, I think their mid jungle is actually pretty strong. I think if you get on top of someone and catch them out as Xin Zhao or Aurelion Sol, it's very hard to actually deal with those champions because they have so much sustained damage. So I want to see them making proactive moves. Top lane's a scaling lane. You play that Fiora for late game. And the Braum, Tristan on the bot side, again, you want that to get into the later stage as well, be really powerful.
So I think when I always sort of look at a Fiora, I always just say there is only one role for Fiora in a team fight. Sorry, I said that wrong. One role for a Fiora in a team composition, and that is split push.
Yeah.
We are going to jump onto the game. We'll see exactly how Feline do with their substitute BB Muffin coming in the top lane. He is, by the way, that guy is so tall. I don't know if you met him. The guy is ridiculously tall, and I think he's only 16, 17. So he's like super young and super tall. I think he's taller than me, which is just insane.
Wow, that's actually crazy. It's hard to picture because in the lineups
they're all
like,
the same height
yeah,
and all the scale. But no, if you meet him in real life, the guy is like really tall.
Yeah. Okay, so things starting off pretty slow, but again, it's going to be the jungle mid I want to watch because both these mid laners love to roam. Both these junglers want to have early pressure. Pre-6, they're very powerful. Their ganks are great. You can even go for level 2 ganks if you want. So that's going to be sort of my lanes to watch. M&M can make something happen on the bot lane, but equally, Achu and Snuggly have the tools to turn it around. If the Lucian overcommits and gets stunned up by that Braum passive, could get a bit dicey. I think top's going to be interesting, though, because I feel like, you know, BB Muffin does want to scale on this Fiora, but again, this isn't someone who's so confident in the top lane. He is sort of a last-minute addition to the roster where he would typically be playing mid.
I've got a great tweet, by the way. I'm not going to say who it's from, just in case he doesn't want me to say it out loud on broadcast. But you know, I asked people what appliances they don't use in their house or items they don't use in their house. I got a tweet from someone saying it looks like most of the UKLC teams aren't using their keyboards.
Wow.
Oh, that's savage.
Yep, that's harsh. Hopefully these teams will use their keyboards in this game, but that's yet to be seen.
Definitely feel like Feline are doing the kind of the opposite for what M&M want to do. They are a bit like the Enclave of last game, where they just want to scale their things out. And Fiora especially needs that time. Achu going to want to scale up as well. You're not going to have the same lane presence versus a Lucian than you would versus a Vayne. So this is a kind of a sit back and and wait, I guess, for the most part. Maybe the mid-jungle combo can get some stuff done with roams, but other than that, the other lanes, it's not a great one for Phelan.
It's actually interesting that, I mean, Achu and Snugly have to be on that heal because they gave the lane push over to M&M, but one thing I always say, what is it about Alistair? He's not really a champion level 1, and I feel like they just gave up so much pressure there, let them get the shove, and it cost them a summoner in the end, and that's where things start to get dicey, because now they have a pressure. Nolty's not going to invade, but he might get collapsed on here.
Oh, Soft's got so much damage on this Xin Zhao in the early game, and Snuggly's collapsing down. Nolty trying to trade back here. He does get locked up. In comes ADM. They just need to get the shot. First blood goes over to Achu.
And if it's a worst Pearson give, yeah, that is literally Nolty choking. He gives over the red buff and a kill to the Tristan, and we're talking about scaling. That's just contributed a lot, and especially when Shogun and Monk were finding advantages bot. They burnt a summoner, they had the shove, they had a CS lead, and they've just given over a kill and a red buff to Achu because of a misplay by Nolty, so...
If I want to get inside Nolty's head with that play. Generally, you tend to invade when you've got pressure in your lane that you're moving through, right? He was moving through bot. Maybe he felt like there was enough pressure in the bot lane with a big enough wave that the rotation was more likely to come out of Monk and Shogun.
Yeah, I think he didn't expect that there was a ward next to the red bush.
Yeah.
And I think he was going to wait there until Soft got low and then just jump on him and win the engage. Oh, combo comes in from Shogun there. Achu's very low and no heal.
Oh, he's so low. Has to go with that. So low. Nolty running through, gets one axe down and forces the flash out of Snuggly. But even with the red buff, Monk and Shogun continuously putting on the pressure.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you pick this solution. You want to apply the pressure early, and Achu and Snuggly really being forced out of this lane so far. But fortunately, that kill earlier means you can pick up a pickaxe, not going to be too far behind in items.
So the poll says that Phelan, so the Twitch chat poll, says that Phelan are 71% likely to win this game.
That's a bold prediction.
That is a bold prediction, Twitch
I like
chat.
it.
Lots of Phelan.
Oh, did you see that? I think Shogun just took the cannon without a stack.
Oh, no.
That is...
Banish him.
I think Monk might just quit the game.
Actually, Bub Muffin holding his own in this top side of the map.
He's called Bub Muffin.
What?
He's called Bub Muffin.
I said I was going to say BB Muffin, and I stopped saying the word B, so maybe.
Yeah, it sounded like you said Bub Muffin.
Oh, that was a nice little play from Mumus there. Stops the...
Actually, BB Muffin's very low.
Oh, stops the weakness. He's going in now, trying to force out BB Muffin, who's going to flash. And just as I was praising BB Muffin's laning presence, Mumus makes him look a little bit silly.
It's cast a curse, you know what they say. And Nolty's in the wings, but I don't think you're really going to be able to gank that Fiora who's recalling. Bit of a slow start from these junglers so far, but apart from that little expedition to the enemy jungle that Nolty had, which went so bad. But Soft actually heading top, and the TP's coming in from Fiora.
Look, it's a bit pressure.
Mumus is very low.
Mumus might need to flash himself here. He doesn't have the ability to trade back, and he's going to back out a flash for a flash. Probably a teleport for a teleport at the end here as well, as Soft goes in. Oh, Nolty was there. Soft's going to get the kill. I don't know.
Mumus gets that.
Yeah, Mumus gets it. Maybe he was just not wanting to give it over to Nolty, but it is a 1-for-1 trade at the end of the day.
Yeah, it doesn't give the assist, so it's not too bad. And the experience
if he just waited like 1 second, Nolty would have walked right into his field of vision, and he could have dove directly onto Nolty.
Yeah, but just didn't have the information there. Mumus is going to TP back in, so not a big deal. And he actually hits level 6. They both have it.
Mumus trying to get positional play on BB Muffin here, but actually ends up a moderately even trade between the two of them, with Mumus kind of coming out on top.
But crucially, Mumus holds on to his ult. He steals away the Fioras, but doesn't use it himself. BB Muffin used his, so that puts him at a pretty big disadvantage.
Yeah, he does have the riposte, remember, if he needs to block something coming out of Mumus, and he has got a huge wave pushing onto his turret now. Has got the Rejuvenal Bead in his inventory to give him a little bit of extra life regeneration too.
Yeah, building towards that Tiamat obviously helps you control the wave a bit better. I think once you get to the point where you're building a lot of lifesteal in this Fiora, you really start to excel in the 1v1, but it's a while away from that point now, and Mumus is playing the matchup pretty solidly. Nolty taking the opportunity to look for this Mountain Dragon.
Oh, he's going to get spotted out now.
Achu and Snuggly were forced back again, and I feel like these two have just really struggled in this bot lane 2v2.
Yeah, and I don't even think there's a way that Soft and ADM can even respond to this because of the fact that Achu... Well, that's an aggressive play coming out here. They have to be careful as Monk manages to dodge away the majority of the CC coming his way.
I think if they hit that Winter's Bite, I think that would have been enough, and they could have actually got the all-in.
Yeah.
No flash and Monk. They have the Ignite to deal with the heals, so bit unfortunate they don't manage to land that, but just good moves from Monk. But this is typical, is that Monk sometimes goes over aggressive and can be punished. So right now they're doing great, but actually getting a picture-in-picture to see two plays gone on at once.
They're going in onto Monk here. Here comes Soft in the top bottom side of the map, going to dive in. Monk does not have that flash available and will go down. Mumma's pushing onto the top side of the map and will get the kill onto Fiora too. It is a 1-for-1 trade on the bottom side, however.
But a 1-4 advantage to M&M in the top side. So getting to see two bits of action at the same time. Monk gets punished for the jungle gank, but his team are there to turn it around and take out Soft. And then Mum, as we said, he had the ult advantage against BB Muffin. And it's starting to gain in this matchup. But if we look top lane, ADM's closing in.
ADM is rotating right now. Pings have come through. There isn't a flash there from Mummus, and ADM is going to be chasing him down with his own flash, but should get away with the blast cone. I will not flame Harry for that. He did manage to catch the end.
Yeah, he did get the 50-50, so that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, he did well on the 50-50. We can't flame him too much.
It was pretty good that Mummus got away because ADM actually missed some minions, let Chibs get the shove there and recall because he went over for that roam top, which he got rewarded with very little there. And when you see now a gold bounty already picked up on Mummus, he's finished that Rod of Ages, going to be stacking up pretty heavily.
Yeah, picking up those 2 kills certainly helped him out so far. And actually still no Tiamat for BB Muffin, so it's very likely this is going to be a rough laning phase now from this point onwards with that Rod of Ages already completed, like you said, for Mummus.
Yeah, I think now you just have to go into
Where are you looking,
mode.
Harry? Where are we looking right now? Okay, there we go. Thank you.
Yeah, was he like zooming in on the bush?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
He does his own thing sometimes. Sometimes he just really likes a piece of terrain off the map. Doesn't really care about the action.
Yeah.
Good old Harry Doctor.
Gotta respect it. It
Gotta
is good that in the last team fight, that Achu managed to pick up another kill. So he's on that 2-0-0. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get the BF sword, so he's sitting on some pretty poor components to have. You would really like to have that BF sword picked up.
Oof, yeah, the agility cloak. Never want to pick that up as your individual component.
Yeah, when you have the pickaxe and the agility cloak, that's like the, oh, feels bad, man, but still in a decent position in terms of gold, and BB Muffin get chunked here.
He's chunked, but he's not backing off right now. Mummus has to be careful. That is going to be the ultimate popped. Lots of damage coming down with healing there as well. Muffin knew exactly how much regeneration he could get from that situation, and he did.
Yeah, and it was good play from Mummus, so he went straight towards the wall because if that last vital had been hit, I think it definitely would have been a kill for BB Muffin. So understand the matchup. And Chib's in a bit of trouble here, but gets
already cast that path, and he was able to get out. Monk and Shogun again continuing their presence. Looks like Nulty wants to rub salt in the wounds of that rough top lane. It is a difficult one for Phelan. They don't have their main top laner in tow for that Mummus matchup. And PB Muffin doing his best to survive, but it looks like Nulty and Mummus are going to push onto that top lane.
Crucially, because Nulty's showing his face top, ADM and Soft are free to go for playing top, for play bot lane. 4 members here. And Monk and Shogun just have to back off. There's going to mean some damage on the tower, maybe a plate.
Maybe a single plate, and that'll be a pretty good outcome. Fila need that extra gold going to their bot lane specifically. Actually maintaining a very small gold lead over M&M at this point in time. But a great response from M&M once more. They take that opportunity with all that pressure on the bot side of the map to go straight for the Rift Herald.
Yeah, big thing you gotta say though, we talked about it before the game. Scaling is in the favor of Phelan. So although they're quite even right now, M&M are the ones who need to make proactive moves to get further ahead. Looks like a bit of skirmish might come out here.
A threaten to go onto Soft with that Frozen Tomb, but they managed to back out.
Got to be a bit careful engaging the Jins out. Obviously, the ult means it's quite difficult for your teammates to follow up.
I gotta give credit to BB Muffin. He's still even on CS, despite having a really tough time versus Mummus in terms of individual trades.
It's crazy as well, because you tend to think if you were put in a situation where you're mid lane and you put top lane, like I understood the Vlad, because he plays mages in the mid lane, but you'd think that you just want to play like a tank, and you wouldn't be confident to play a matchup like this. But he's playing Fiora into Mummus's Silas, and yes, he did get solo killed at one point, but he's still keeping it together pretty well in a matchup where he is going to scale better into the late game, at least in terms of split push.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely in terms of split push. And that's really all Fiora's meant to do. She really is not a good champion. You would never really pick a Fiora for a specific team fight. She doesn't really team fight at all. And she can get locked down really easily. You've only got one riposte that has an even shorter period of time or grace time that you had sort of a few patches ago. As the Hex Flash now gets Shogun back towards his lane. It's going to clear out some vision, or at least to get some vision on that dragon area, which is just the Ocean Drake, so it's not a huge one, not like an Inferno where everyone's going to group up and contest it.
Recall coming in, and Achu is able to pick up that Infinity Edge, but the one-item spike of the Lucian, the Blade of the Ruined King, is a lot better. Just that lifesteal and also a lot more damage just from that one item gives you a bit of AD, bit of attack speed, and that on hit. So I feel like Achu and Snuggly, again, they just want to look to scale, and now Eminem looking towards that Ocean Dragon. Not the most impactful at this point in the game, especially. It's great in the lane, but we're sort of getting past that point. But it gives an extra win condition to Eminem. You want to stack up those dragons, so if you manage to get an Elder later, and if you're interested, those are Lucian stuff. if anyone was wondering and could see that in the 2 seconds, it was up.
Oh, going in onto Achu here, a nice Unbreakable will keep them safe for the most part. Monk really put the damage down. Don't know if they're going to be able to defend this with the Rift Herald being popped as well.
ADM's coming down though, and that's not going to be enough to kill the turret straight up. I think they'll be able to clear it out actually.
Yeah, they should be able to. The rotation from Soft is going to do work too. So Rift Herald going down. We'll get a couple of plates, but still the pressure very strong coming out from
They don't
M&M.
have Chibs here, so they should be a little bit careful, but it looks like they just baited them in, and now Chibs is actually getting some damage on the mid lane. So it's pretty good moves from M&M to apply that pressure bot and then also drag away. And we just saw a miskill from Harry, thank you very much, but Mummus getting another solo kill on BB Muffin, and things starting to look a bit dicey in this top lane.
Yeah, I mean, now Mummus looking to put the pressure on, but sort of take away any of that top lane nerves, I guess, he might have had going into an unfamiliar matchup, maybe something that he wouldn't, a guy he would not have played as regularly as he might have liked. But he's starting to get that pressure now, and they're actually translating top lane pressure very nicely. They translated it into that dragon, which they had Mummus rotate down for. It's not something that you see too often either.
Soft's on the flank, and a TP's coming in. Mummus is really strong though. They're bringing ADM as well. Let's see if this is enough.
They're jumping everybody in. There is the ultimate there for Mummus. He has got the ability to flash over the wall. Actually just chains himself to the Gromp. I don't know if anyone's going to be able to catch him here. That was a really nice escape, but ADM has got other things to say about it as he jumps in, trying to keep the pressure onto Mummus, who's still got that flash available as Soft jumps in as well. They're going to get the kill. The shutdown goes down to Soft, and he's going to pick up the Rift Scuttler at the same time.
Yeah, they bought so much time, but ADM managed to catch him. We will see that 1v1 once again. So BB Muffin taking some heavy trades, but he doesn't hit any of the vitals. And at this point, you're so low. I think Mummus is just confident enough to go for a dive. And BB Muffin has TP here. I think you should have just recalled and TP back in.
He just was, I think he wanted the wave. Maybe he felt comfortable.
He's so low here. We're going to see if he actually uses Riposte, just gets burst out. And he uses it very late, but Mummus just plays it very well. And it's just when you have that low HP as a Fiora, your Riposte really isn't going to do that much for you.
So, starting to see M&M turn up the heat in this mid-game, which is kind of what they needed to do. This is a composition that we said needed to function better in the mid-game. Didn't want to let Phelan, or give Phelan too much space to scale into the later stages. And we're now at about a 2,000, 2,500 gold lead for M&M with a very strong Silas coming out from Mummus, despite being behind on CS somehow.
Yeah,
Still behind on CS, but he's got a wave. But
yeah, they got a lot of kills. It's unfortunate they died because they gave him a big shutdown to Soft. The Soft isn't the scaling element of Phelan. The ones I'm worried about are the carries, the Jin Zhao. That gold on him is not good, but it's not going to be the worst thing. And a big part of the pressure that was applied top, they went to shut down Mummus, and in that time, Monk and Shogun were just able to push down that bot tower. And so now all three of those outer towers are down. Really good position to be in the mid game, but they need to keep the pressure on. Dragon up in a minute 50, they wanted to prioritize that. But on top of that, you want to push your vision up, as you can see Mummus doing, and then look for opportunities to either out-rotate and get those inner towers, or look for a pick. And with an Alistair and Lissandra, I think I'd be looking for a pick.
very difficult for BB Muffin to keep the wave on his side of the map. Now he's got the Ravenous Hydra completed. That's going to continuously push those waves regardless of what he does.
Yeah,
but actually,
I feel like Mummus is just going to shove in as well, so...
Oh, actually, Muffin put himself on the wrong side of things here. He's going to dive in with the ultimate, trying to trade effectively. Actually, a huge amount of damage. The regen does come through. He gets the heal. He's going for the solo kill. He just needs one more Q to get the kill onto Mummus. Mummus trying to dive away. This is so, so close. He gets the turnaround. The stun coming through now onto Lissandra as Chibs is the target. Shogun's looking for the opportunity to dive into this fight as Snuggly works his way in. That's a huge amount of damage coming out from ADM and Soft. Can they chase it down? 1 for 1 at the end of the day with Chibs giving up his life, but what a turnaround from Mummus.
Oh, it's just a crucial mistake from BB Muffin. He had the flash that whole time. He thought he didn't need to use it. He gave enough time for Mummus's Kingslayer to come up again, and that's what turned around. That heal when you're at low HP is huge. So clutch.
But Monk, in the meantime, gets yet another turret for that gold purse of M&M. And he's going to walk away as well, working towards his next item. With the Dragon coming up in 23 seconds, being an Earth or Mountain Drake. It's a pretty important one for getting these turrets and also for the first Baron of the game, which you imagine M&M are going to be heavily contesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to help with taking that one down. Got to imagine that Monk's going to, well, he is going towards the Essence Reaver with that build, which does scale better than the Black Cleaver build, but the 2-item spike isn't quite as strong. But it sort of suggests that they know there is that scaling threat from Phelan, so they want to itemize against that. And I think a big thing as well is that there aren't any tanks on the side of Phelan, so you really want those big crits to cut through them. Mountain Dragon up. I feel like Phelan want to take this, but there's no real chance for them to contest it. Soft would have to go for a miracle steal, and with no flash, it's going to be tricky.
Yeah, I just don't think they can team fight this effectively right now, and I think they know it too. Going to be very happy just to let this one slide over to M&M, and that is now...
They're looking mid.
Looking mid for a Chu, actually, as Mummus jumps in. Kingslayer giving him plenty of ability to regenerate in these team fights. Shogun and Chibs can't find the engage onto Snuggly, however, who's forced to burn his flash.
Yeah, Mummus can just buy so much time on that Silas. Feels so bulky, and the heal as well buys him so much time. It's quite interesting, nobody's bought any healing reduction yet on the side of Phelan. I'd like to see an Executioner's Call and potentially, or, you know, a Rellenomicon from Soft. Just a big part is that you have Sustain already built on that Lucian, and every other champion has built-in Sustain. You know, that Silas has the heal on the W, Olaf has a lot of Sustain on his W, and then the Lissandra. So I think an Executioner's Calling would be a good pickup to take at some point here.
It's definitely worth considering. Like you said, there is plenty of sustain to deal with coming out from M&M. BB Muffin still continuing to just farm in the side lanes. You know, this is the best thing he can do. Remember, he's not a team fighting champion. His ultimate win condition is just to sit there as a split pusher in the side lanes. But wait a minute, Chibs is overextended maybe.
Used. And we're looking mid.
Oh, what's going on, Chibs? Back onto them. There's the ultimate use from Muffin. He has got the ability to freeze someone up, but I feel like Chibs, unfortunately, is just going to go down. BB Muffin pick up the kill and a nice rotation out of Phelan that M&M are struggling to punish.
Yeah, just an overstep. Use the claw when you really shouldn't have. So Phelan get a pretty free kill there. And the big thing is, although the Mummus is pushing the Silas in the bot lane, there's no towers left to take until he gets that inhibitor. Yeah,
we're looking at 4 towers to 0, yet there is only a 3,000 gold lead for M&M. Phelan have done a good job of keeping themselves relevant in terms of gold sort of discrepancies, although Soft's going to face check. He's dead.
And just goes straight down, so... Yeah, a bit of an oopsie-daisy, and they will get another tower here off the back of that. I mean, 4.2k gold lead's pretty good at this point, especially with the 3 dragons. It means that M&M are going to really start to be able to pressure this Baron. If they get it, the game's really in their hands. But Phelan not out of it yet. They have the Tristana, who's in pretty strong position here. The Fiora is going to scale, but...
Still about 2,000 gold down on the opposition, which is Mummus. In fact, most of that gold lead is coming from that Mummus advantage in the top side of the map. M&M have done a really good job of accelerating the mid-game plan that they have. They just need to convert it now. And that is the part where Baron comes into play. They've got plenty of pressure with Monk, who is very, very far ahead in terms of his own gold lead too, about 1,000. And in general, they've hit all the item spikes that they want to be at this point in time. That Baron is calling their name. They just need to find the ability to pressure enough on the map to set up for it safely.
Yeah, and I think they have enough of a bulky front line to be able to tank out. The DPS isn't amazing, but it's fairly decent with a Lucian. And it's not great, to be honest. The Lissandra is kind of lame on a Baron. But either way, they want to set up, they want to look for picks is the main thing. If someone oversteps, they can find an opportunity. So right now, Phelan are moving in. They're going to establish some vision control of their own. And now the recalls come in from M&M, and they're going to try and clear this out. And this is when things get tricky, because you have this big pressure in the bot lane. I mean, Mummus is on that 2-item spike, also has that stopwatch. BB Muffin is essentially going to be trapped bot lane to wave clear, and you can see Mummus is in a free position to move up. And a big thing as well, in a minute 45, another objective that both teams will want comes on the table, and it's that Infernal Dragon.
Yeah, this is kind of the point that XL were at it with Enclave. They had the advantage, but they weren't confident enough to go straight up for a team fight at this point in the game. So they just wanted to wait for the objectives to do the work for them. It looks like that's what M&M is doing here too.
Yeah, they're clearing out all this vision that was established earlier. There is a ward in the pit, but they should throw a pink down and see that. Yeah, I think it's been caught on that. So they've basically cleared all this vision out in the Baron area. There still is a ward on the back end that I believe they could have Fiora TP to, but a Fiora flanks on the greatest wait.
A Chu very nearly taking the L as Monk jumps in onto him, just to try and find another one of those solo carries that we know Monk likes to go for. And that would have set up very nicely to at least pressure Baron or the Infernal Drake. But Achu's so good at just timing these buster shots to give himself the best opportunity to get out of there. And BB Muffin now, he's found an opportunity to push onto this tier 2. He's going to bring Mummus back towards that lane.
Monk's going for more poke here, shoving in. I don't know what that was, but we are seeing it play bot.
Baby Muffin now the target. He did get 2 turrets for his work here, and he tries to dive away from Mummus. Flash comes through. Mummus has his flash of his own, and I actually think BB Muffin might be able to escape here. In the meantime, all of this pressure happening has allowed MNN to set up for this Baron, and with 2 Mountain Drakes on their cards, they are taking it very quickly. Can Phelan respond to this in time? Snuggly coming through. There's the redemption. That's the engage. Straight onto the backline. Absolutely obliterated as Tristana is wiped off the face of the map, and MNN can turn, burn, and take the big purple worm.
Yeah, it was just great moves from them. They knew BB Muffin was in no position to TP, so they got him out of the way. Mummus chased him down so he couldn't recall, and then as soon as he was far enough away, Mummus goes for the TP flank. He wasn't even needed, to be honest. It was a great engage coming out from Chibs. They shut down the bot lane of Phelan, who didn't even get a chance to use the summoners, and then they can easily pick up that Baron. And now, Infernal's on the cards that they can pick up after that. And the game is really in the control of MNM.
Yeah, the game absolutely split wide open now for MNM. They have plenty of pressure to put through all of the lanes. Monk is super strong, having picked up the rapid fire cannon on top too. This is now a stage in the game where MNM could do exactly what we saw in the previous game. Use this Baron buff to split open the base of Phelan and try to stop them getting free waves and free farm and being able to sit safely in their own base.
Absolutely. The big thing is, can they break the base with this Baron? By all means, they definitely should, but they have to make sure that they get that. You see Mummus actually playing a bit safe bot because Phelan are looking for a pick. They know once these 3 lanes start pushing in, they're not going to be in a comfortable position, so they want to try and catch someone out before that happens, but I don't think MNM are going to fall for it.
Yeah, I mean, if you catch out 1 member on a side lane before those waves crash into the inhibitor towers, then you've got a minute of that Baron buff that has essentially been wasted.
Yeah, I think Chib's pushing in top, that tower is still there at the inner, so I think MNM are likely to rotate up there and secure that one.
ADM is trying to do his best to defend that. Doesn't look like MNM are in any kind of hurry at this point in time. The minion wave not quite there. They're going to happily push in this mid lane wave. Monk and Shogun again, just acting as that front line aggressive engage tool.
Seems a bit risky to keep pushing them in. I think they should go for the rotation and just get that top tower and then shove it in. So they are doing it now. Just a bit slow on it, but they will get it. And then they can start really pushing down the base. And Soft is actually shown at bot to try and take out Mummus, and that means they are down a member on the other side of the map. So MNM can keep this pressure up.
Actually going to give that red buff over to Achu. That's an important one for any kind of team fight situation that might open up in the next few minutes, because red buff is so influential into AD carry's performances. Monk now, just going to get a few free shots into this mid lane. As you can see, Achu now aggressive. That might be a little bit too aggressive, though, as a great Unbreakable from Snuggly once more keeps his AD carry safe. So many times been bailed out by that presence from Snuggly.
I mean, a big problem with the composition of Phelan is that they have no hard engage. There's no one who can just go in and lock down that Lucian. So he's pretty free to just play as aggressive as he wants.
Oh, in the bot lane, though, Mummus 3 levels on his opposition, and BB Muffin using that ultimate to try and sustain up. I don't think it's going to work, though, as he does get the ultimate proc. Mummus now actually very low. This is so close. The Kingslayer doing so much work, forced to use the stopwatch, but that was a really good defense from BB Muffin, being 3 levels down on his opposition, but it's not enough, because Mummus has got himself back up to a sustainable HP.
I mean, I think it shows the strength of the Fiora in the scaling, that he could almost win that 1v1 against a really strong Mummus, but it might not be enough. And Chib's actually going very low and is forced to self-ult here on the top side.
But it's such a slow takedown for Aurelion Sol, and he's able to get out pretty easily. Mummus is going to get pressure onto this bot lane inhibitor turret now, as every inhibitor turret has been opened up and destroyed. MNM need only take an inhibitor to secure themselves a significant advantage off the back of this Baron buff.
I mean, this is the difficulty with this composition, is that they have no hard engage, really. They're going to go for Mummus here. He's buying a lot of time. Oh,
BB Muffin may be overextended. He's going to be dived in. That's the unfortunate move from BB Muffin that's put himself in a very precarious position in this team fight, and the rest of Phelan are going to have to bail him out. MNM now are free to get every single inhibitor on this base if they so choose.
This might be a bit of an overstay, though. They're down a lot of crucial ults. This could be the opportunity for Phelan to get back in the game, but they have to go now.
ADM trying to land a stun, doesn't manage to. In goes BB Muffin onto the sideline with Monk. That's a big engage from Shogun, and everything has been set up as Shogun is tanking huge members on the backline of Phelan. In goes Mummus, diving more. Monk going to get killed as well. and this should be M&M cleaning up the game. They absolutely sweep the scraps of Phelan to the side, and M&M are going to be facing Excel in the final of the UKLC.
Yeah, it was the best case scenario without the Sandra all being instantly available, but no hard engage on Phelan. A massive goal differential means they weren't able to close it out, and just a great performance from M&M. They really had control in this game.
Yeah, I felt like maybe in the early game that Phelan were holding their own, but just like Excel, M&M picked their time to strike. That first Baron was their win condition. They took it and they won off the back of a single Baron buff, much like Excel did in that game versus Enclave. So two teams knowing exactly what to do with their mid-game orientated compositions, utilizing that Baron buff so
I
well.
will say M&M did look a lot cleaner than XL did,
They
because
did, agree.
there wasn't an enemy 7-0 Vayne. I mean, Achu did the best on that Tristana, but the lane pressure that came out from Monk and Shogun was just really huge there. And this does now mean that we have locked in our top 4 teams for playoffs. The order's still able to get muddled up, but we will have Diabolus, Fnatic Rising, XL UK, and M&M go into playoffs. That is guaranteed. Cannot be changed at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Just depends in which positions they come now. And again, every team are going to be looking to try and knock Diabolus off the top of the tower and attempt to get those 5 points in their back pocket and push themselves up towards the top of the standings. I'm waiting to hear the MVP for that game. If you had to pick one, who would it be?
I think Mummus would be a good bet.
Yeah,
he made a lot of impact. Nolty was pretty solid as well, apart from that early int. That was
I think I can't name anyone else on M&M that had as much of an impact as Mummus. But I am also looking that he was going up against a substitute mid laner in lane.
Yeah, and he still... Those 1v1s were a bit dicey.
They were a little bit, but the pressure that he generated was so influential. I also think Monk had a great game. I mean, Monk always has a great game.
Yeah, no, I'm actually going to give credit to him because he doesn't always play things as flawlessly. He normally has a time where he oversteps and gets punished. There wasn't really a time where that happened. It felt like the whole game he was sort of on point. Because normally it's like he has a good game and there's one point where he just sort of suicides. I'm like, what are you doing? But it's still a good game overall. But I feel like there wasn't that flaw in that one. There wasn't that moment where I thought, what were you doing, Monk? It was just, you know, a pretty consistent game from him. Yeah,
and actually now we are turning into that final of week 6 of the UKLC, which is going to, we are week 6, right?
Yeah. Good.
I can count. And it's going to be XL taking on M&M. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts, you know, going into this one, because like you said, M&M look much cleaner in the early game. And I'm thinking about the individual matchups, and I'm going to think about it like this. Sendo versus Mummus. I think Mummus is a more consistent top laner right now than Sendo.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Exile versus Chibs, I would give it over to Exile if he gets Rise specifically, which I don't think M&M are going to let him have. And then the bot lane, I think Monk and Shogun are probably more likely to outperform Inax and Kasing, genuinely.
Yeah, I think Inax and Kasing, it's, you know what they're both capable of. You know Kasing, he's played in the LEC level, he is a great player. And Inax is capable of just being such a monster in these AD carries, but it feels like they're not completely meshing, and it also feels like there's just a couple of mistakes, mostly from Inax, and that's the big thing with XL is that you know what potential this roster can have, but they just seem to be making a lot of mistakes and just sort of falling apart.
So I'm going to tell you the MVP was in fact Mummus that game on his top lane Silas. A really, really solid game from him. You know, arguably did have some tough 1v1s to deal with, but generated a lot of side lane pressure for his team, and he will find himself the MVP award here in the game versus Phelan. Kill participation at 87% over the course.
4 solo kills, so pretty solid on that Silas. Made a lot of pressure. And again, you know, a bit unfortunate for BBMuffin to be in such a rough matchup, but respect that he took the Fiora and tried to go for that 1v1 pressure. Yeah.
You know, we didn't talk about the jungle matchup between M&M and XL, but I'll let you guys do that when we get into the next game. But I think it's going to be a really, really high-stakes game, especially now that we are competing for those playoff seeds. So we're going to be back after a quick break, and Hitfrain and Orcs will be taking you through the final of the Week 6 UKLC.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the UK League Championship, and we are here for the Week 6 finals, as it is going to be XL taking on M&M. And the winner of this will then ascend to the top of the tower to take on Diabolus in our Tower Challenge as our 4th and final game of the day. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of this game, there's a little bit more nitty and gritty stuff that we do need to talk about. Now, with that win, XL beating out Phelan does mean that our playoff spots are now secured. So Diabolus, who are currently in first, Fnatic in currently second, M&M and XL, who are about to play, all 4 of those teams are now locked for playoffs, but they are still playing for points. Like you said at the beginning of the show, first place is still up for grabs. Guaranteeing yourself at least a play-in spot at the European Masters is still up for grabs.
Any of the teams that could get that spot, and also there's going to be the seeding coming into playoffs. I believe it's going to be first place 4th, second place 3rd. So you want to get that favorable matchup where you're against a team that has performed a bit worse.
I mean, all of these teams are looking pretty good though. It's
yeah,
hard.
It's a bit of a toss-up.
Yeah, it's kind of like, who would you rather play?
It's been all best of ones. Like, go into a best of 3, it's a very different environment, and I don't think there's a good choice for any of the teams. It's just, you got to come in confident. And I think getting first place is more about, okay, we guarantee that EU Master spot, and we're coming in as a #1 team, and we're confident about it.
And now, also, with that win, it also changes something else a little bit lower down in the table. Enclave, while they are now locked out of relegation, so they can't be relegated, they can't make playoffs, so they're kind of stuck in limbo. Like, kind of in limbo and purgatory. But it's not all over for them because of the fact that Forge of Champions is going to be our next tournament, starting up after the UKLC has ended and after EU Masters is done. And they now dodge at least the first round of Forge of Champions, so they'll get through to the second stage of that tournament, which is nice for them.
So there's always something nice.
Yeah, you know, you're not going to be relegated. You skip a round of Forge of Champions, you're feeling pretty comfortable. But
better than nothing.
2 teams who are maybe feeling a little bit antsy right now is going to be XL and M&M. They know how much is on the line, and this goes back to a game we had about, I think it was 3 weeks ago, where the first LEC sister team was slayed, and they were slain by M&M.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think since then, it's been a balance of upward form from the likes of Diabolus and M&M, but also XL and Fnatic really look shaken. And they had great starts to split where it looked like those 2 would be the top dogs, but since then, it's been hit or miss, particularly with XL, who've had some rough performances. So they need to redeem themselves here, because if they can still get their hands on that #1 spot, but they have to come out here, get the win against Diabolus, and just keep performing next week if they want to keep that alive.
I mean, there's a miracle run is still needed by both of these teams, really, if they want to at least secure enough points. I mean, if you're M&M XL, what are you looking at coming into this? Because XL have had a pretty good game coming back after yesterday's games versus Bulldogs. They did not look like one of our top caliber teams.
Yeah.
They struggled versus a 1-point team. Then you look at M&M and they've been up and down. It's been a roller coaster with them. Some weeks they've looked like one of the best teams, and we're all going, how have we not been thinking this team is not one of the best teams? And then the week after that, they kind of play pretty substandard, and we are, oh, that's why we were misdoubting them. So they need to make sure that they continue to play on this high. The last game was a good game for them. They look very clean. They look very comfortable versus Phelan. They are in a tougher challenge here versus XL, but we've seen them beat this team before, and they know that XL have had a rough 2 weeks.
Well, I think the area where XL's always excelled is, like, XL has excelled. Anyway,
yeah,
playing around things like the 1-3-1. When they get XL on the rise, he does a lot of work. So I think they should try and cut that out. You do not want that to be a win condition for them. And then the team fighting from M&M has often been really good. You see them in goal deficits against the likes of Fnatic Rising, winning team fights and getting back in the game. So if you pick a composition that's easy to execute, team fights well, has an element of scaling, and then you just ban away stuff that can split push effectively a 1-3-1. I think M&M were in a good position to really take this, because even in the game against Enclave, which XL won, there was team fights that they lost. There was that one with a great engage from Vizek, and I just feel like M&M have shown they are good at team fighting. If they just bring that same sort of level into this game and they give a composition that facilitates that, I think they could be in a good position.
It's really hard for me to call this, honestly. I mean, it's more your job to kind of, make a judgment call on what you think is going to happen.
Coin and just...
Yeah. Have you got a coin?
No.
I haven't got a coin. Hey, production, have we got a coin? No. They're going to get us a coin. We'll decide the game
in
in a second.
Imaginary coin, and then when it's up in the air,
it's coming. Keep it in the air. It's coming.
You start to think about who you're going to commit to. So I flip it up, and I'm like, I'm feeling.
Here he comes. Here he
we
comes.
actually get
Give me
the
that coin. Oh, you got it. All right. What are we saying?
Heads is M&M, because
Okay.
they have heads, and tails is XL.
All right.
It's heads.
Just to confirm.
Yep, so we are predicting M&M to win.
All right, so M&M RT. I'm going to take this. No, I'm not. I don't need a 2p.
All right.
I guess. Man, is it really that rough? But you're like, no, you're not taking my 2p. Oh, boy.
But yeah, I mean, obviously there's the reasons we talked about before, but we've seen XL can win games, but they're always so scrappy. And in those scrappy matchups, M&M is a team that do tend to come out on top. They have Monk, who's just been so solid in their last game, but also had those winning performances on things like the Kog'Maw and the Kai'Sa. And then it feels like everyone on the team has sort of done their role. Yes, there's been mistakes. Naughty had that questionable early game in the last one where he just suicided. Mummus was getting a bit rough in the 1v1 matchups.
It's been a bit of a joke. A kind of running joke at least, but it is actually starting to become a bit of a sad joke here. Naughty dying early in the jungle.
On early game champions.
On early game champions. Is starting to become a worrying trend.
I think it might
another
be
time. I mean, it was a greedy invade when they didn't actually have priority to do it, but
I think he just gets overconfident. You pick him something like Olaf and Elise, and he's like, right, I need to make things happen, let's go, and then he dies. But you put him on something like Sejuani or Skarner, and I feel like, or Gragas, and he's much more like, okay, I'll take a little chill step back, play things smarter. So, if anything, M&M should draft him something that he can't int on.
I mean, that's always nice, not inting. That's how you typically have a higher success rate of, winning games.
Well, you wouldn't know about that, would you?
No, I wouldn't know anything about that. I'm Int Master.
Yeah.
That's my summoner name as well.
Oh,
It's not.
I didn't think so.
It was taken by you. All right, we're ready to pick some bans. See what gets taken away. I'm expecting to see a lot of kind of target bans. There's the Kog'Maw.
Is that a target ban? Did you think?
I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that might be a target ban. Monk has been so strong in this Kog'Maw, and it's just so difficult to deal with in the team fights if you don't have the tools to shut him down.
Yep.
M&M, I mean, there's a standard things that we see banned on red side, but I really do not want them to give over the Rise, and they
target
did it.
ban there.
Yeah, I said that is the big threat. Is XL on this Rise? He gets massive. You split push. You 1v1s. And we actually have a new coach coming over XL UK, Tim Kiro. So originally they had Unlimited as their coach, and then he went over to the LEC team, so they brought in someone new. So hopefully this is what they need to rectify some of those issues. Jarvan gets taken off the table. This is pretty standard stuff. We may well see the Galio come out from M&M. Lots of stuff on the cards.
Lots of stuff available. Jarvan taken away, M&M.
Vayne's
Definitely
still a big
thinking
kick.
this out. They are thinking about that, and that is the big thing. The Vayne is open. We saw NX have such a good game on it yesterday. It was picked into them today, and XL, they went down to it. And you even said it in the last game. You shouldn't have really lost that game when you had like a 7-0 Vayne.
Yeah, I mean, it was good from XL to sort of play it out and find the windows, but it's risky to give someone like Monk a 7-0 Vayne, so I mean, I'm not sure they're going to necessarily take off the cards, but it's definitely going to be on the minds of these players. Silas gets banned away from M&M. It's had such a resurgence since it got enabled again.
Yeah,
Lucian Jarvan are fairly standard bans.
Yeah, it gets banned away with that Lucian. So one more ban for M&M, then we move into picks and see what is left open here for XL.
Maybe the Yorick is a potential ban. Maybe something like
the Vayne?
Vayne, yeah. I mean, we talked about it before, and clearly they see it as the issue. They don't want to give over to Inax because in their game where they fell really far behind, that was the win condition that brought them back in.
The Callista's open though, which we've seen a rise in preference here in previous weeks. We've even seen the Inax Tristana, we saw at the beginning of the day.
Yeah.
So see what they decide to go for. Gonna go for that cow power pick though.
Galio's a big one. It tends to be a high priority first pick. It makes me think that maybe M&M will lead towards the Braum, as that's been the two supports at the top of priority so far. But there's a lot of options here for M&M. You can prioritize an AD carry here because you have that extra second pick, or maybe a jungler. There are options here. I want to see them give Nulty something that has some melee pressure, but not a crazy amount that he's going to end. The Lissandra has been great for Chibs though, so that would also be really solid. And like I said, easy to execute, good in team fights. That's Lissandra.
Yeah, they are going to pick that up. So does give them also like pick good team fight, gives them lots of things. 70% win rate, high success, and I mean, a lot of those losses are coming off Magic Felix, man.
It's a point-and-click stun. It's pretty easy to play around. The roaming's really strong, and the team fighting's so good because of the passive, the frozen thralls.
Yeah.
It just means once you start to get some momentum in the team fight, it comes up really strong. So I think it's a good pick for them. Here, they could take the Braum, they could take the Kai'Sa, so they're going towards that. They want to give Monk something to carry on, and not so much on this patch, but on the previous patches, this was his go-to when Kog'Maw wasn't available, as sort of, I want to scale up and carry in. With the new Storm Razor changes, I think she's in a pretty good position. And now it all goes into what XL want to do in response to that. Do you want to try and pick an AD carry that can bully out early? Tristana's pretty good into it, and they're very quickly taking the Sejuani off the card, so maybe concerned about something like a Sejuani Braum, or just the fact that, you know, Nulty on these tanks is a lot harder to punish.
All right, well, Exile going to be locking in Inax a Tristana. We saw it at the beginning of the day. Pretty decent champion for Inax. It's in his wheelhouse. We know it's comfortable, good into Kai'Sa. So Exile going for a fairly strong composition so far. Their team fight would be pretty dirty. See what they try to round it out. If they want to go for more split push or offering just the flat team fight. It's up to them, really.
It's going to be what they pick here. I would lean towards picking a support because you want to get that strong 2v2 lane, maybe something like the Braum, but they're going straight for that Yorick. They want to get that good matchup for Mummies, and now they're in a position where they can ban away things like the Jax from Sendo. They can ban away things that are going to be good in that 1v1 matchup. XL, on the other hand, they could target the supports. They could take away things like Braum and the Alistar, or they could go for targeting the junglers away from Nulty. If you want to get them away from things like the Skarn and the Gragas, which we know that he's a lot more comfortable on and doesn't int so hard.
I wonder if Sendo's got something like the Riven in his wheelhouse for this.
Potentially. I'm not really too much sure about the...
Could go Aatrox as well, which is kind of safer than Riven.
I mean, Yorick's just going to be a problem with the split push later on. There are things you can pick into it that will do fine. They are going to ban away the Alistar. We're going to see what Eminem ban, because Jax has been the big sort of go-to. Yeah. But there are other picks that can deal with the Yorick that I would say, but I'm hiding them.
Well, let's see. Eminem are thinking about every pick they make. That's going to be the Renekton taken away, so another offensive lane bully.
Has a lot of pressure in the early, but that does leave that Aatrox as one of the strong top laners still on the cards that Sendo could pick up. I wouldn't like to see him go a tank because that's really risky in terms of win conditions, and we actually see the Thresh taken, so that Braum still available if Eminem want to take it.
I feel like they first pick it, otherwise XL just take it. So
yeah, I mean,
you want to get your hand on that now.
I think it makes a lot of sense. You can leave the junglers till later so you can really round out your composition.
Unless they're baiting the Braum out and they pick something like a Zillion into it.
XL have the Galio.
Yeah.
So they're probably going to have the Galio.
Oh yeah, sorry.
support.
Yeah. I mean, in my head, I was like, Galio's still a mid, right?
Yeah, I mean, in theory, it still could be a mid laner. It's still, you could take that Braum and put the Galio mid. It's still done quite a bit in Korea, not so much in other regions, so there is possibility, but I'm not too happy with them leaning towards that. I think you put XL on something you can carry in. Cassiopeia is pretty solid. Into Lissandra has a good matchup. I think there are options, but it just depends what you want to do.
Gonna go for the Nasus. Susan's coming out here. Okay.
That is a wild
In a minute, we'll talk about that. Let's see what the rest of the picks and bans are gonna kind of round out for. They're looking for a mid laner for Exile here. What is open to him?
But most likely a mid laner. Cassiopeia is probably a big one for me. Orianna is an option. Syndra potentially, but maybe a bit immobile for my liking. So we'll just have to see what he feels comfortable on in this situation. I'm actually going for the Corki, so this is something that's really come back in the meta since the changes to the crit items. Good into Lissandra. I mean, I can't believe I missed it, but really good into Lissandra because it just scales so well. Yeah. And you can take that cleanse and the Valkyrie. It's very hard to lock you down, so good pickup for XL there. And this definitely gives a massive scaling element over the side of XL. I mean, Eminem's isn't bad, but that Olaf, Lissandra, you pick that for early mid-jungle pressure, not for late. And they have let the Braum go through, and unsurprisingly, Shogun picks that up. So for me, this is very much Eminem need to get things going in the early mid, because later on, they're going to struggle.
Okay, now it's time we talk about it. Nasus versus the Yorick. How does this go? What are we expecting from this lane? I mean, Nasus a while back, if you haven't been following, actually did get changes to his Q, so he gets more stacks. It's easier for him to get those higher numbers. So also kind of hitting those checkpoints is, you hit those checkpoints faster, those key points on your Q stacks. What are we expecting?
Well, I think a big thing is that Yorick likes to get in melee range of people trapped in the cage, but you don't want to get in melee range of Nasus, so it's going to be the sort of matchup where they sort of can go toe-to-toe with each other. And a big thing is that Nasus can stack up on the ghouls and just queue them to get, you know, some extra +3s. I think later on, I'm not too sure how this matchup goes. I think it sort of depends on how far ahead either gets and also on the Maiden. But I think Nasus can have a pretty good fight. The one issue, though, is I feel like if Yorick cages him, he can just run away. You know, if Yorick's not going to win the 1v1, he can just run away. It's not really so much of an option for the Nasus because a chase down's pretty effective. Now, all you can really do is slow the Yorick, but he'll just cage you then run. So
yeah,
I think it
I mean, you have to hope that you can get through the cage while the Wither's on, and that's harder.
Yeah, definitely.
To do. So, I mean, I'm curious to see how this lane goes because you could just go for the pure camp and just make sure Nasus doesn't become a champion.
Yeah, but in same in reverse, because if you set the Wither onto that Yorick and then Sejuani turns up, very easy to stack up that stun and cut them down. I think in the early levels, it depends on the jungler's pressure.
Let's have a little look at our roster. Sendo, Taxa, XL, Inax, and Kasing for XL, and Eminem. There's Mumus, Nolty, Chibs, Monk, and Shogun. Eminem, this will be the second game in a row here. They did just beat out Phelan in the game just before this.
Yeah, and both teams drafting some pretty wild stuff. The fact that they're willing to take that Nasus into the Yorick. There's a lot of confidence to pick that third for Mumus there.
All right, we're on to Summoner's Rift for our finals here of Week 6 of the UKLC. All to play for. First spot is still available for every team in that top 4. And you know that XL are hungry for that. They've had such a weak past few weeks here at the UKLC, and they need to try and get themselves some redemption. They want to go to European Masters. I mean, you've got 2 ex-LEC players on your roster.
I mean, not even ex-LEC, still LEC. They play in the LEC, the split. It's 10-man roster rotating. XL and Kasing are, they're very high caliber players. It shouldn't be this difficult. But it's been a bit dicey.
Maybe it's just the caliber. It's always
UKLC
been like
so
the UK scene's a meme, but maybe we've just been resident sleeper.
Yeah, we've just been so good. So I do think that Eminem are going to have the better early pressure because that Olaf Lissandra is so strong in the mid jungle compared to Corki, Sejuani, who are going to wait a bit longer before they come online. So I want to see Nolty and Chips make things happen. The first Dragon's an Infernal, which is great for Eminem because when they have the pressure early, they want to be able to pick that up.
All right, well. Minions going to crash in. No shenanigans early. Jungle is just doing their solo starts, both towards that top side of the map.
It's not actually a solo start for Taxa, getting help from Sendo there.
You're right.
Yeah, tend to be. It's cool because you know how they have the new indicator for where you can pick the axe up?
Yeah.
With that skin, it says Craggy Ice on the floor.
That's real cool. Big fan. Do you have to keep in mind, Exile does have some fairly decent sustain in this lane with the fact that he's got the fleet footwork on the Corki, so...
Wait, Nolty's been seen on the ward here, and he's very low.
He is very low. Are we going to get a standard Nolty start here? Taxa looks to zone him away. Don't quite have that control mid they wanted.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is that you tend to get low when you're clearing a Zoloft. It's beneficial, but when you're going for the Scuttle, it's not the situation you want to be in. Juggernaut going pretty far forwards here.
Yeah, we get a bit of damage onto Inax. Not enough to get the Void passive off.
But still quite a big chunk, and at level 2 paying dividends. But one big thing is the fact that Exile is having so much pressure in this mid lane in this matchup. And I mean, it shows the caliber of a player, the fact he's just unable to get hit by the skill shots from Lissandra. It means you can just keep trading autos and winning out.
Saw Exile just move into the river to place a ward as well, so maybe with Taxa try and go and get himself that second risk scuttler, just deny Nolty as much as possible, but looks like he's going for his chickens. And Mumus already getting poked out. I want to track the siphoning strike stacks.
Probably not that many right now, I'll be honest.
I mean, across the game, that was more a broad, that was more a broad statement.
Fair enough.
It's just the full clear here for Taxa. Not going to go for the scuttle. Just wants to remain in control of his side of the map. The Infernal Drake is the first Drake up as well, so it's quite spicy. Sendo already been forced to flash here. Going to get a spade to the back of the head as Mumus trades out of him, but Sendo just getting those extra stacks from the ghouls.
I mean, that's the issue. When you fall behind at any point in HP and mana, in a position where you can't fight the Yorick, he's the one who dictates the fight because he has the cage where you can't get away from it. In any reverse situation, Mumus can often just run away because the Wither is pretty weak at this point. You aren't putting any points into it yet. And later on, he's going to be bulky enough probably just to tank it out.
The Sendo's gone for the double Doran start, wants as much mana under his belt early, wants to be able to sit and just queue for as long as possible.
Yeah, good mana and HP. And also, it's not actually too shabby because you get the AP contributes to his E damage.
Oh, okay. So I just got a little update from production. Sendo is maxing E. I have to see whether or not he just put 2 points in early for that like extra shove, especially with the double Dorans.
I think as well it helps.
Or if he's going for the Q max.
It helps the trading power because Q max is obviously for ideal stacking, but in terms of trading power, the E tends to do a lot more. It shreds the armor as well as just pumping out more reliable damage because you have to be in melee range to make use of your Q, and often you're using it on the wave. So if you put more points into it, it's not going to help your trading, whereas your E is something that you want to use against Mummus, or the other option is to shove the wave.
Okay, well, Sendo needs to be a little careful here. Nolty sniffing, has got that Predator available.
But if you look at the map, there's 2 members closing in from the side of XL.
As the Predator's on, the Ghouls are in, they're going to slow up with a miss. The cage comes down, Taxa launches into the fight. Sendo, no flash, has found himself dead as Nolty gets first blood. Taxa tries to turn it around, Nolty's low, Minions doing damage, but Taxa goes out. It's a double kill for him.
Yeah, and the Olaf gets low and puts out so much damage. XL take it clear up, but I'm not sure what he can do.
The Ghouls are here. XL is just going to have to step away, though. Mummus actually taking a fair amount of damage. The cage is on, Valkyrie's down, and XL takes another shovel to the head.
Not a good situation to start in. The Shark really finding momentum.
All right, so you guys at home are voting towards Eminem winning. 81% of you on that Twitch poll.
This is such a bad situation as well for Sendo. The reason he's coming mid is, did you see that massive wave top that's shoving into Mummus? Sendo would just miss out on so much farm, and so XL has to stay top and shove it in, and Sendo is kind of in limbo, having to go mid to pick up any CS. But Mummus is going to get a really big lead here.
Taxa has found Chips. Chips with his ultimate is going to be nice and safe. This does mean XL do have enough members around this Infernal Drake if they want to go for that. Lots of vision has been placed by Eminem around this side of the river, so for now, just going to step away.
Yeah, now Sendo makes the walk towards top side, has hit that level 6, but 2 assists over to Mummus and picking up that big wave. He will now push over to Sendo so he can pick that up himself, but Mummus in a really good position now to get a lead in this matchup. But Nolty, I mean, we said he sometimes insta on these, well, often insta on these early junglers, but he really had a good performance there. Got low on that Olaf and just pumped out so much damage and stayed alive for so long.
Nolty finds out Taxa. Blast cone. He's just helping him get to his camp quicker, right?
Yeah, it's quite nice of him, actually. Second round buffs will start to spawn, so Nolty heading over to his red. And actually, I mean, he's consistently had pressure in this lane matchup. And it is a counter, the Corki and Sandra. It's a matchup that isn't too great, but I'm not sure it's so much about the laning as it is more about the fact that you can't really punish the Corki and he scales super well. So it just sort of shows the strength of XL, that he's still applying pressure in the early levels.
Do you get stacks on wards? Is that a thing?
I think so, yeah.
So double check that.
I'm pretty sure you do. I'm like really pretty sure you do.
I don't play Nasus. Like,
I don't play him often, but I'm pretty sure you get stacks on wards.
it's actually my least played lane.
I'd bet on it if you want to take a bet right now.
You know what? You do. Okay. Well, good job I didn't take that bet.
Yeah.
It looks like with the maiden up, and
Sendo's
then
gotta be
grouping
scared
around this
here.
lane. Sendo is in a world of fear. His jungler is nowhere near as well. Throws
It's a Nasus with
down the E,
elbow.
can clear out the wave fairly quickly, but in comes the Predator. They've got the cage on, forces the ultimate out. Sendo so low. Mummus taking tower shot after tower shot, but he cannot stay alive for long, and he will fall
I think
here.
Nolty died. Ooh, very close. But in return, XL going to take that Infernal Dragon, so they kill the Nasus, but at what cost? Well, the Infernal Dragon is the cost.
Yeah. The Wither actually almost got Mummus killed as well from tower shots, and
Yeah.
that's
Well,
a double
I
Infernal.
think Mummus was tanking as much as he could because he wanted Nolty to finish it off. But I mean, Mummus had flash, so maybe Nolty should have been the one to tank it. Could have used his ult to just run away from the Wither. And then Mummus could have finished him off and flashed out. But either way, the gank was clean, they got it off, so it doesn't really make too much difference. And now Nolty really strong. And we've seen so much variation in Olaf builds. You know, we've seen the full tank, I'm just going to be a meat wall build. We've seen the redemption, I'm going to facilitate my team build. When you're 3-1, I think it makes sense you're going towards that more damage build. He's going for that Black Cleaver. He wants to be able to do more in this mid game.
Eminem grouping up in the bot lane. And by grouping up, I just mean their bot lane.
Interesting enough, Monk actually going for a different build compared to what has been quite more common in recent times. So when Storm Razor got the buff, if you go Storm Razor against his Rage Blade, it's a really nice 2-item spike. And you get pretty fast evolution on your E.
But he's got the Hella Blades.
Yeah, which isn't as common when you go the Storm Razor's build. So he's going towards that the Infinity Edge Rage Blade where you go BF, double pickaxe, and get your Q evolve.
Well, top not having going so well for XL, but mid lane is going pretty good.
XL has a lot of pressure here, and Chibs, if you can't all in as Lissandra, you're not really that good in trades because your ult is such a huge part of the trading. And XL is he's free to just fire those rockets as much as he wants. Has a package though, so...
Yeah, it's going to cancel Chibs' base though, which is big. And with the package, he's going to be able to take down this minion, this minion wave pretty quickly.
Chunking on that tower, already has one plate down. Might well get a second here, but Nulty trying to come over and stop that from happening.
You can see the bot lane have switched out as well. Monk joining up, maybe looking to get a bit of poke onto Sendo.
Yeah, with the dragon off the table, they want to move to the side with the Rift Tile that still has the objective. But because of the rotation, Inax and Kasing are actually ahead in tempos. You can see they're already pushing on the bot lane tower, getting damage into it. So yes, they're not going to be there to contest the Rift Herald, but they might be able to take this tower.
And with this Emax build for Sendo as well, he's actually able to clear out these waves nice and quick. XR now dodging away from a lot of abilities. Chibs has flash and ulti, but XR nice and safe with the cleanse.
Yeah, has a cleanse, so you don't want to really risk going for that play, but because they make those moves, they're not doing the Rift Herald. XL get this turret for free, and now gotta be a bit careful though. XL going aggressive top, and they don't have the numbers advantage here. You've got the tower, that's great. Not sure you're gonna be there in time to contest this Rift Herald though.
No, it's going down fairly slowly, but now with Monk joining in, the rest of the team grouping up. They actually might try and attempt this though.
It'd be a 3v4.
Clearing out the ward. They're slowly collapsing in. Exile's making his way forward as well. It's just going to be the end of the Rift Herald, but the fight might break out. Big E onto Monk, just chunks him out for the moment. You can see Taxa and Sendo now fighting. Sendo flashes away. Arctic Assault to safety. And Eminem pick himself up the Rift Herald. Exile unable to contest.
Yeah, they apply some pressure, but without that bot lane being there, there's no real way to stop them from taking it. Eminem get the Rift Herald, but XL in a gold lead. They have that first Infernal Dragon. We said they have the scaling advantage, so they're in a pretty good position so far.
Watch Shogun in the bush. Taxa not been spotted yet. Does have that Glacial Prison available. Cleanses up onto one. Shogun dodges out for the moment. And Unbreakable means they will not be able to follow up anymore. And XL just going to have to walk away with their tails between their legs.
Yeah, try to catch Shogun. It has to be the target because Monk does have that cleanse. So if you did hit him with the ult, just cleanse and walk out of it. But weren't quite able to find it. They do start to get control of this topside area, but crucially, the Dragon's up in a minute, so I expect to see these teams start to swap towards the other side. Inax is looking for the shove. I have no doubt that after that, he will look for the recall and then head towards the bot side to prioritize that Dragon. I mean, the tower's not there to look for, but I believe it's the second Infernal, which would be a huge pickup to take. And already you can see Inax and Kasing walking down. It is going to be an Infernal in 50 seconds, so XL would be doing great if they pick this up. They would scale so well. Even without the double Infernals, but with them as well, it'd be in a great position.
Chib's taking a serious amount of damage. The group up is starting here for XL. Going to get himself quite a few plays. They actually might be able to get this with double demolish.
Yeah, I think they might just get it.
Waves low, but they got 2 carries. So
yeah, and then with
with
his shove in mid, there's no TP on Chibs and he's recalling. I think they're going to go the recall first because they want the item advantage. I have to expect that XL will have his Triforce off this base, and Inax will have his Infinity Edge. So they're going to be in a really good position to contest this Infernal that's coming up.
Monk chasing him to XL, flashes in forward, going for the aggressive play. Has that killer instinct available.
Or
not
didn't have
gonna pull the
vision.
trigger.
Yeah, didn't have the
vision.
vision there. Plays the ward, but it's a bit too late, and XL just gets out. But crucially, this gives Eminem time to get pressure on that Dragon.
Second Infernal as well. It's a big one for them to get.
Yeah, it would neutralize that scaling advantage. So actually a bit of a mistake, I feel, from XL to back for the items and then have XL overstay. It means they go evenly on those Dragons, but XL have now
He's going to flash, he's going to get the taunt! Oh, Monk! The cleanse will do you nothing! It's the Buster Shot! It's under! Oh!
Not enough to take him down. He does get away.
I mean, that was an Inax fail if ever I've seen one.
Yeah, Shogun's like, yeah, whatever. My AD carry got away. Inax could have rocket jumped in, but didn't find it.
Shogun now just tanking up the way for the tower, gets taunted. They throw all of the CC on, and Shogun, I think that might have been the fail you guys were meant to be playing that on.
That was the Shogun fail. Try to save the tower. Just buy some time though, and with this Rift Herald, and they're going to be able to push down more towers in the bot lane.
Yeah, do get another charge off. The rest of the team grouping up, Sender doing his best to hold versus the Riftail. Not going to have to take it out.
Ooh, he just slams it. Could have been another charge and a lot of damage on that tower, but now Nolty has to be careful. He's going for this red buff, but he's getting collapsed on.
Absolutely as well. They're going towards that blast cone. Exile wants to try and pop in. He throws him in, but the ultimate's on. He's forcing the flash out. Exile goes over. Now he's in the cage, and he gets shut down. Inax chasing him forward onto Mummus now. Can they chase for more damage? The flash by Taxa and the flash by Mummus to follow up. Chibs on the flank is just going to go for the recall.
It's a 1-for-1 trade, but crucially, there was a lot of shutdown gold on Nolty. I believe it went over the Exile there, so this Corki already in a big farm lead, going to be very strong.
And Monk, in the meantime, will get a tower in the top lane. Looks to continue to get some gold under his belt with that double pickaxe and the BF sword. It's back to the older version of the Kai'Sa, where you get the Infinity Edge.
Knock on with the Storm Razor. It does scale better. I think the 3-item, 4-item's better. The big thing with the Storm Razor is that the 2-item spike is really nice, and then you can pick up defensives.
And it's the Emax that you were talking about yesterday as well.
So I think better early presence, but I think Monk knows this game isn't definitely going to be one that's won out in the next 5-10 minutes.
Well, Sendo farming away. I believe that's about 160 stacks on the Siphoning Strike at the moment.
Yeah, did max that E, so not going to have as much stacks, but it's not that big of a deal. A lot of people like to go on that, I need to stack as much as I can. It's better just to not fall behind and farm, because items are pretty substantial as well. In the later stages, when you have more CDR and more CDR and more levels in your queue, you're going to pick up plenty of stacks. And you can now see from his build, he's very much committing to that sort of CDR focus.
Goes Sheen, so
10% the Sheen, 10% on the Kindle Gem. I don't think Raptor Cloak gives any CDR.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
I don't think it does, but it's built so infrequently, I wouldn't bet on that one.
I mean, we've only seen Kerberos build it, but it does show that he's really committing to that side lane with the movement speed around the turrets and even the dead ones.
And also, never going to complain about the armor when you're against an AD jungler, AD top laner.
And ADC.
Yeah, true. XL are in control here, starting to push up the pressure, having taken down those 3-out towers. And although a lot of towers are falling to Eminem, that mid one is still standing for XL, which means they can't push things as deep. And the moves I want to see from XL here is push in, get vision control, and just get control of the map and keep scaling up. There's a Mountain Dragon coming up next, which is definitely going to be a big one if they want to secure that dragon later, because their Baron is very fast.
Yeah. Well, Mountain is spawning in 1 minute 20.
Right now, it's just control the map, clear the vision out, and have a bit of a chill time.
It's relaxed. There's been a bit of action. There's been a bit of farming. Sendo, mainly farming.
Okay, here's a question for you. Which champion would you most like to play in this game? Would you like to be the stack simulator? Like, if you were in this game yourself.
I quite enjoy a bit of Kai'Sa when I play AD.
Yeah, I really like Corki. Corki was my go-to when I got put mid.
Yeah, it's Corki's the mid laner I've just never really enjoyed playing.
Oh,
I feel like if maybe I abused him, I might do better in some of my games.
Are you saying I abuse him?
No, I'm just saying maybe I should have abused him.
I did, when he was strong. I remember like I'd be in a game, I'd get matched against a mid-master mid laner, and I'd get put awful on Corki, and I would just pick up kills for free somehow from using my package, and then suddenly I'm like 5-0 and one auto does 80% of someone's health. It was beautiful, beautiful times.
Well, he's finished up that Triforce and the Sork Boot, so his damage is starting to spike. Probably wants to build towards that rapid fire cannon as his next item, get the empowered auto.
And then likely the Infinity Edge. The old Corki was very much Triforce's big spike. It's still a big spike, don't get me wrong, but Corki at 3-4 items is where he's just monstrous. He just shreds everyone, and it's so much harder to itemize magic resist than it is armor, especially when you still have to itemize armor because it is Tristana whacking on you as well.
Well, Iceborne Gauntlet's been finished up for Sendo now, so not going for the Triforce, and this is actually the fight. Nolty already half health bars low. They're trying to get that damage on. He goes gold with the Zonius for the moment. Shogun goes down to Taxa as Taxa finds himself a double kill. Meanwhile, Sendo being chased up by the Maiden. It's just going to walk away.
Just a massive mistake. Nolty overstepped, no flash, ulted really late. And there's no reason to be there. Contesting that vision, you didn't have control. You're way too late. The dragon's already spawned. You have to expect XL will be in the area, and just for someone who had such a good early game, is making a lot of mistakes.
He's being collapsed on. XL maybe getting caught out, uses the Valkyrie to safety. Maiden starting to rip through him a little bit, and just going to take it down.
This is the big thing, is that what a lot of teams will do is they rotate, not so much to kill the Yorick, but kill the Maiden. And it means until that's available, Mummus really doesn't pose as much threat to Sendo. So Mummus just has to wait for that to be up before he can do much.
Oh, okay. Apparently we have the winners of the Easter egg. Are we doing it now? Is it just one? I'm getting mixed messages here.
We don't have the name
yet.
sheet.
So we do have our
winners
winners for the Easter egg.
that found my face, so thank you for that.
I don't know why Mike R. Sound Book.
You should have spelled it B-E-W-K. Because that's how I say it, Book.
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 You kind of add an extra O in there.
Book.
Book.
Book. I like the kook from a kook book. I don't think I'm exaggerating. I am a little bit, but you know, that's how I say it.
Do you have a Luke in your kook book?
No, you don't say Luke like that. It's luck.
Luck. Luck.
Like I'm looking at you.
I like that.
But you like that?
You see, this is the thing I miss about not having Tyg on the show anymore.
This is the thing? I miss everything
well,
about
there's
not
a lot
having
of
Tyg on the
things, but
show.
one of the things was, you know, we could talk about how he would say words because his Irish accent was very strong.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he'll be fine when he gets in the LEC because we'll be able to see him there, but it was nice to cast with him.
It's not the same,
It's not the same.
you know. I want him.
I want him too.
Anyway, let's talk about the game. And,
Yeah, so big item power spike starting to come in. We see that BF sword picked up by Corky. So, I mean, can go towards that rapid fire, but wants that extra AD to really give that oomph on the auto attacks. Inax on 2 items. And Monk, quite a bit behind, hasn't finished that Rage Blade. And again, when you go this Infinity Edge Rage Blade build, the 2 item spike isn't the biggest. You're really waiting for 3 to put a lot in. But now, when they feel on the mountain, XL have a very fast Baron. They're starting it up.
yeah, Ocean and, Mountain and Infernal helps them take that down. Voidseeker has spotted it out, and Eminem are coming in. Nolties, pop the Predator, goes in with the ultimate, tries to steal away, but he doesn't get it. The Glacial Fissure is on, and XL are just going to step away. Eminem unable to steal it.
That was so close. I think maybe if Nulty preemptively ulted before we got there,
yeah,
he might have been close enough to get it, but oh, that was so close. I think Nulty might have actually smited first because it went down to about 100 HP, and then Taxa got it. So I think Nulty might have been the first to smite then, but Taxa went out. I don't know. We might have to see a replay if we want to really get the ins and outs, but basically the point is XL got that Baron. They have a really great scaling composition, and they seem to be in control of this game, which is pretty uncharacteristic from what we've seen of XL so far in the past couple of weeks.
Definitely looking to make that return to form here for XL. Baron buffs on. Drake spawning up in 2 minutes' time. Want to double check if that is an Infernal? As Taximate, you're on a ward.
It's very weird movements. He's sort of like strutting forwards. Oh, he actually misses the ward.
How do you feel he commands his bear to do that? To kind of like stutter step forward.
Maybe it's like, you know when like you're sitting on a chair and you're trying to move the chair and you just go like that, and he's like
I mean, you're doing something that no one can see.
like you shunt the chair forwards. Maybe he's doing that with a ball.
Might be. I feel like that ball is infinitely heavier than a chair on wheels, but XL found out by Monk here. Voidseeker is on him. Does have that package. Monk jumps in. And XL just jumps away to safety with a package. Does a fair amount of damage though to him.
Yeah, I mean that isolated Q, as well as you get a crit on the Infinity Edge, there's a lot of burst.
Oh, they're
Not
gonna group
enough.
up, take this tower down. 23 minutes on the clock here. Gold lead starting to grow more and more by the moment.
It's getting difficult.
3,700 gold, and Monk has been caught. Cleanses on. His health bar's low. Buster shot's enough to get the kill. In comes the hero's entrance. Kasing enters into the fray. Health bars are still low, but the Unbreakable is enough to defend Chibs. And a pick for XL.
What a great dance from Inax. Love to see it every time. Manages to take out Monk, who overstepped a bit there. And now they'll just keep pushing. And I feel like there was desperation from Eminem. They need to look for an engage, but it didn't really come. And Monk, who tends to be the shot caller in these late game situations, he was the one who went forward. And he was the one who ended up falling. Send up to the side does take down Nulty. They take him down in return, but now they're just pushing on the base. They're going to end.
Actually just look to end here. Shogun's joining in. Turret number 1 is down. They continue that side shove. The Nexus will be exposed here. Chib's low already. Glacial Fissure has gone down, and XL and Inax are untouched in the fight. Monk joins into the fray, but 2 kills have already been picked up for XL. M&M are losing members and are losing hope. Shogun's low. Mummus goes down as XL flashes in. Monk is dead. The Nexus will follow. Shogun flashes in, but can't get it with the Winter's Bite. Nexus goes down, and at 24 minutes, XL squash M&M.
And we're finally starting to see the return to form that we expected from XL. They are actually playing like the team we thought they should be. It was a solid performance. There's a little bit of time where there's some life from M&M, particularly Nolty found some kills in the jungle, but from there on out, it was just clean, calculated, and closed out to perfection.
Last week we had questions about how well M&M could close their game. XL could close their games out. 24 minutes was all it took, and it wasn't like they were just stomping all game. It was fairly controlled, and great game for coming out from them, as Taxa is going to be taking MVP from that game, and well deserved. His Sejuani was fantastic.
Yeah, had a lot of control on the map.
90%.
Crucially, won that 50-50 Baron against Nolty. That could have really turned the game around in return. Maybe have to question why they let it to get to that point, but they managed to secure it, and he was constantly on the map facilitating his team, so credit to him.
This does mean now XL are up to the tower challenge. We've still got one more game, which is Diabolus looking to defend their spot at the top of the tower, but M&M XL, I don't know if he's saying M&M. XL have been looking very good in their last 2 games today. That shaky performance yesterday looks like they've got that, or they've shaken that off. They're looking refreshed. They're looking ready to win their games nice and clean here. And Diabolus, a team who have been on the up and up for the last few weeks here at the UKLC.
This could be a big challenge for them.
This is going to be a massive challenge for them. They started the week versus Fnatic Rising, and they squashed Fnatic. Diabolus made them not even look like a second-place team. This is not the XL we've seen for a while, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even the XL we saw in week 1, they had some really shaky performances. I think that's the cleanest game we've ever seen from this iteration of XL UK.
Yeah.
So if they can bring that sort of level going into playoffs, they could really be in a good position. And remember, all 4 of those teams, well, not M&M anymore, but XL can still take the #1 spot away from Diabolus. If they go for a perfect streak for the rest of today and then for next week, they could end up getting that #1 spot, that guaranteed spot at the play-ins for EU Masters, and also #1 seed coming into playoffs.
Well, step 1 is taking Diabolus off the top of the tower. So we're going to cut to a quick break. And when we are back, it's time for the tower challenge. Can Diabolus remain on the top of the tower, or can XL take them down?
Who knows?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to week 6 here at the UK League Championship. My name is JK Brain Matthews, and I am joined by Dan Orks Harrison for our Tower Challenge as XL have ascended to the top, and they are ready to try and knock Diabolus off the top, who have remained there for 2 weeks now.
Yeah, it's been a while. They have been at the top. They're the only team to sort of fully defend the tower back-to-back, so credit to them. But now they have to go up against an XL who are looking refined and a lot better than they looked in previous weeks.
It's been very clean from XL for the last few weeks, but it's been a while since we've seen Diabolus. I mean, we saw them yesterday, but it feels so long because we see them quite rarely at the moment because they just remain at the top of the tower, sitting there quite comfortably on their throne, laughing down at the peasants, trying to scramble their way up to the top.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, but
I like how you could have picked up and run, but you just you don't.
But I think we're going to see a great matchup because this is sort of in the last game. It was against M&M, who are one of our stronger teams. XL showed the sort of form that we expect from them. Diabolus have been going from strength to strength, so I'm expecting a really high action-packed bloodbath here, where both teams just want to give it all because I believe, not 100% confirmed, but XL need to win this if they want to have a chance at first place.
Yep.
I think. Pretty sure. And Diabolus, if they win this, I think that then means they secure first place because I think with the
doesn't actually. I think there's still a chance for someone like Fnatic to upset them next week.
No, because Fnatic, if they win next week, they get to 19 points, which would tie with Diabolus.
Oh, and
they lose in a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So I think if Diabolus win this, think.
I want to get that double checked.
Triple check, quadruple check. So don't quote me on this. But I think if Diabolus win this game...
We definitely should have had this ready, right?
I think if Diabolus win this game, they lock first. If they don't, then please send your complaints to JK Brain Matthews.
Cheers, mate. Cheers, mate. Yeah, well, I mean, let's look at what we're expecting coming into this game, because Diabolus are a team who've been pretty dominant for the last few weeks. They've been on the up and up. They had a rougher start to the season. And then they've been looking like an unbeatable monster. And you've got to look at where that's coming from. Kerberos has made a return to the carries and not just playing these tanks. And he's been disgusting on them. You've got Yusa, who has been an all-star AD carry for this team. I think these two are one of the two people I really want to watch on Diabolus. But I think as a roster as a whole, they're looking great.
Yeah, I think these teams are going to match up really similarly, to be honest. I think both Monkeys and Taxa... Monkeys and Taxa, both Danish junglers actually.
Yeah.
But they're both not the most aggressive, I'm going to take over the game, get really fed junglers, but they try and contribute to the team. Top laners, they both have some inconsistencies, but can have some good performance.
I'm going to have to stop you there. We have a phone call. I believe the devil himself is here to join us. Diabro, are you here? Hello?
You have summoned the Dark Lord Diablo. Speak, or be assimilated.
I mean... do you want to ask it? I don't know what to ask the devil, I'm not going to lie.
How are you feeling about this matchup in XL? Do you think you guys have what it takes to stay at the top?
XL who?
Oh,
That's
okay.
That's a good answer, yeah.
I mean, how many goats were slaughtered to summon you for this interview? That's what I want to know.
12.
12. Is it always 12, or does it depend on week to week?
It varies. Depends on the week and the bloodshed on the rift.
And I mean, this week we've had a pretty bloody week. So I mean, watching the games, have you been expecting XL to climb to the top, or did you think someone else might have ascended?
Well, the Dark Prophet Kaio expected M&M.
Oh.
So it was quite an upset.
Okay.
Kao isn't as reliable as we thought he was. Got some of his predictions wrong. I think he got yesterday wrong as well, didn't he?
He did.
You might have to sacrifice
we just
him.
need to give him a bit more dark powers.
Yeah, I'll punish him for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
He will be punished.
I want to know how is that punishment going to happen? What are you going to do, or is it too
He'll be
evil?
forced to play Timo for the rest of the year.
Okay.
you know, there's some people who would actually enjoy that.
Yeah. I mean, I assume yesterday is the little devil Timo skin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Makes sense. Although I actually find the most evil skin the cottontail skin. I don't know, there's something really like psychopathic about him putting little legs down. And you're like, oh, an Easter egg, and then it explodes.
Of course you do, hip rain.
I think he just took a hit at you.
Yeah, was I getting shade from you?
Of course, I am the devil.
That makes sense.
I wonder, is it like a riddle? Are you more like are you just a flat evil devil, or do you play this kind of riddle games?
Do you have a riddle for us?
Yeah, I'm terrible at riddles.
I haven't come prepared with a riddle, but next time I will have one for you specifically, Hipbrain.
Specifically for me? Oh, Lord.
But
All right.
if you do not manage to solve my riddle, I will own your soul.
That's a fair deal.
That's a fair deal for you. It's not a fair deal for me.
What does he get if he manages to solve the riddle?
Yeah,
though?
what do I win?
Not to come to hell?
Not to go to hell.
I don't
That
think
is-
you can offer that.
that
to
is
Hipbrain.
not
I
a
think
good deal for
I
me.
think it's pretty guaranteed.
I mean, you did make a deal with the devil, so this is on you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us here, Diablo. Hopefully, we will speak to you soon, and good luck
Hopefully
in
not.
your game
You want to
today.
speak to the devil soon?
Well, I mean, I've kind of got to because I got to make this deal. I've my arm twisted into it. Thank you very much for joining us, and good luck with your game. We're gonna get ready with our picks and bans for our fourth and final game of the day.
Thank you.
Faded away.
Creepy. Yeah, so a lot of confidence, as always, coming out from Diablo, back in his team. And, I mean, they should be confident. They've had great performances so far. We are flying into the draft. And, I mean, like I said before, there's a lot of places where I feel like these teams match up pretty well. You have two mid laners who like to play these scaling mids and just get so strong. The junglers, more about facilitating the team. The top lane can be quite volatile. And then the bot lane, that's the big one for me, because both Inax and Yusa are very aggressive. Sometimes too aggressive. But I feel like they're going to be looking for blood, looking for 2v2s.
Alrighty, well, Ryze, Zoe, and Jarvan being banned away. See, Diabolus banning away these mid laners. Don't want to give XL anything comfortable, but XL do take away the Silas. Don't want to leave that open.
Yeah, I'm going to be wondering if they ban away the Vlad, because I know Kerberos has been really keen on playing that. A lot of people banned that in the first rotation against him. Be interesting to see what Diabolus end up banning away as his third one.
I wonder if the Yorick gets banned as well. I mean, we've seen Curb on that again.
Could potentially, especially when XL on red side, they could go for that third pick and then ban away counters. They actually end up going for the Aurelia, so not wanting to leave it in the hands of XL, potentially Sendo. And it has risen in priority. You know, it went off the board a lot when it got nerfed, but it's definitely come back into the meta. And Lucian going to get taken away from Diabolus. They don't want to give that easy option, the 2v2 to Eustace. So now, over to them, and they have the option of things like the Galio, which you've seen a really common first pick, like the Braum, which I know Hado really favors, or they can pick something more focused on one of the other lanes.
Well, looking to put some attention into those lanes as Monk is going to get his hands on the Rek'Sai. So pretty comfortable pick there.
Yeah,
Does leave that Galio open though.
Yeah, leaves
does
the
leave that
Galio
Vayne open as well, potentially.
as well, which you saw banned away from XL. So there would be that scaling option, but it would put the priority down a bit in lane. So could be a bold pick to take early. I think I would personally definitely pick up a support in this rotation, whatever Kasing wants to get his hands on. He has really looked towards that Braum recently, but I think Galio is a strong one too. And with Sejuani going on attacks that they had a great game on before, Sejuani Braum is a pretty strong combination.
Could go for that. There's quite a lot open. Have to see what XL decide to lock in as their next pick.
Might shoehorn you a bit too much going for that Sejuani Braum now, but you could lean towards something like taking a high priority AD carry, like the Kai'Sa or something on those. But it looks like they're just going to go for the Braum, so they want that strong combo, which gives great team fighting, great lockdown. That's the thing, is that Rek'Sai is going to have more early pressure, but when you go in later on, there's so much CC that's just going to shut you down.
The question is what are they going to answer that out with?
Monk is hovering the Braum. It is Kasing's go-to pick, and it is a counter.
Zillion, mate.
I mean, the Zillion, yeah. Is Kasing's go-to pick and is a counter to the Braum, but I think he's just hovering it to sort of indicate that is potentially something that they could go, and they do lock in the Yorick for Kerberos. So the question is going to be, does Sendo take something like the Jax as a response to that? Does he take the Nasus again? Because the thing is, I feel like you can't take it to the second rotation because they will ban those away. And we might well see Eustace Vayne again, feeling confident on that pick. And when you see a front line like that, I think Vayne is a pick to go to cut through that.
It'd be very nice for them to get their hands on that. And that also means that if Inax doesn't take like a comfortable AD now, they might just ban them away. But they decide to go for the Kai'Sa. Does have a fairly decent matchup into the Vayne as well, so
Yeah.
it can play into that.
This is a really difficult position because now they can counter the AD carry pick by getting a high priority on themselves or the top lane. I would lean towards the top lane because you want an answer to that Yorick. If you leave it, they'll ban away Jax and Nasus. And if you don't have anything prepared, you're going to be in trouble. So Sendo, he locks that Nasus in. He has something to answer the Yorick. And now we go in the second rotation. I expect to see XL ban away support and Diablos ban away mid lane.
That might be a little bit wrong.
80 carries. Yeah, I think that is no longer up to date. But we'll see XL ban away supports here and Diablos ban away 80 carries most likely. They could throw some more at mid lane, but with already still off the table, I mean, a big one could be you could take Lissandra away from Exile and actually getting rid of that Galio, which is a big support pick. Alistair on the table as well is something you could want to take away. Now it is in Diablos cards. And I mean, if I would be looking at things like the Tristana,
I mean, Alistair's a nice ban away here as well, because it's a Haddo comfort pick.
Vayne gets taken off the table. I expect to see something like the Alistair come out here as a ban from XL. Maybe feeling spicy, you might be worried about a Morgana, but I think she's really not that much in the meta right now, and she's really on the fringes. So, comes down to what XL are scared of, and they do go for the Alistair, and I expect to see the Tristana coming out from Diablos as a ban here. I guess we'll just wait to see if they agree with me.
We'll have to see. One more ban here for Diablos. What are they going to take off the board? What are they going to deny from XL?
You could throw it at the mid, but I feel like when neither teams pick the mids here, you're probably just going to go towards 80 carry. There is a risk that XL picks something as a counter, because they will have that counter pick.
Yeah.
But they go for the Tristana. I mean, I did say it.
You did. You were right.
Yeah, and now, I feel like XL...
I mean, when Inax has played 2 games of it today, you know he's feeling pretty comfortable.
I would lean towards picking the 80 carry here. You could take something like the Jinx in this situation. Civ is an option if you just want a T-fight at the back of that. They will lock that in, so a lot of engaged potential. You have that run at them, you have the Sejuani, the Braum, very good at locking down targets, and it goes with Diablos. Rakan is available, and he starts to rise up in priority. Does offer good engage. Zillion, again, it's a counter Braum. There are options for Haddo. It just depends what he wants to offer to his team.
See what they decide to lock in. Fair few things open to them. The kind of priority is shifted down a bit as a lot of those supports are being taken off and taken away, but Rakan is going to be the final lock-in for Haddo, so they do have that team fight. They do have that engage as well, but if you do look, I mean, it's been rising in popularity. It's not been rising in win rate. 0% win rate here in the UKLC at the moment. And
yeah, still quite hard to execute on, but the engage is really powerful. They did give some buffs back towards that W. Not the greatest against Sivir before 6 because she can just spell shield it very easily. But now goes to what Krogston will play, and Orianna makes complete sense. It is his sort of go-to pick in the mid lane. And now we have to ask, will XL pick something where he can punish the lane matchup, or will he pick something that scales? Things like Cassiopeia, things like Syndra are going to be pretty solid mage matchups, but you could go for something more aggressive in the mid lane. Potentially like that Zed that we saw have so much success from Warzy. Comes down to what XL wants to play and what he wants to offer to his team. I would personally lean towards a sustained DPS. But you're actually going towards
I was
LeBlanc,
thinking about maybe the LeBlanc. So they do want to go for the lane, the lane bully, the ability to try and just deny Krogston as much as possible. Does mean as we move later in, he kind of has to play around the vision. And if they fall behind, having a LeBlanc when you're behind is rough. It's really rough.
Definitely less impact in the later stages on that LeBlanc, but I think they know that the Sejuani, Braum, Sivir are so strong. They wanted to secure something that's going to be strong in the early game because LeBlanc is going to have so much pressure. And the thing is, if XL get ahead, it's very easy for them to run away with this game.
Yeah, we'll have to see exactly how that's going to go down. You do think someone like Exile piloting the LeBlanc, though, is going to be feeling pretty confident on that champion. So I'm pretty excited to get going because this is obviously our 4th and final game of the day. This is our 6th and almost our final tower challenge here at the UKLC, and so much is on the line for both of these teams. Diabolus are so close to locking themselves a spot at the European Masters, and you know they've been desperate for this for so long. They didn't make Season 1, and they didn't make Season 2.
It's 40 champions.
So close.
They were 3-2 in the series. They went down. If they'd won one more game and it had been 3-2 to them, they would have gone to EU Masters as our first seed. So for them to lock in this spot would be massive, especially when they're going up against 2 LEC sister teams. Fnatic Rising. I mean, Fnatic alone is just such a huge name. And then the fact that XL has gone to the LEC and kept the sister team and then may well fall to Diabolus, it's pretty big.
I mean, they're a historied UK team, XL. They're a team who've been on the scene for a while. They've been dominant in the scene for a while as well.
Great support to play for them.
And some less weak ones. But, oh my lord, that is some true support here.
Yeah, I mean, I love to see the support. I was inspired by Diablo skill by Euromaki CC. I don't look half as cute as that Lumiere, but rooting for you guys, Diablos Esports. So good to see the support. I believe that is so the manager of Diablos is Two Chins, and I believe that is his partner.
Okay. I mean, that's some serious effort.
Yeah, dedication.
You got
to
some
the
proper
team.
horns.
Orcs cast bingo. Everyone, orcs. I think I saw this before. I think at the bottom it said. I think this is going to be a bit dicey.
Oh. Well, hopefully we're getting ready to roll the dice and get into our diciest game
this
here.
is going to be a bit dicey. I'm looking forward to a dicey one. Dicey, dicey, dicey.
Get it out.
Dicey. Dicey.
Cool. What is your favorite dice?
Ooh. I don't know.
Let's take a look at our rosters. Kerberos with, in the top lane, Monkeys, Krogson, Yusa, and Haddo for Diabolus, and then XL challenging them, Sendo, Taxa, Exile, Inax, and Kasing, not mistakes. Playing as we head on to our 6th tower challenge here at the UKLC. Diabolus want to remain at the top. They had Fnatic challenge them yesterday for this spot, and now it's XL.
Should be a big fight between these two powerhouses.
Alrighty. We never got the names for who won your the Orcs Easter egg, actually.
No, we didn't.
We need to get those names.
Yeah, I feel bad for the people who potentially have won and they don't know.
Maybe they were confirmed to them.
Oh,
the governor!
yeah, that's pretty good.
Maybe we're going to start seeing some Kaiser top from him. I missed that second one, I'm not going to lie. And Nick from Diabolus.
Oh, nice.
Do we have a third? Oh, PFI as well.
So nice to see all the people from this scene getting fast in on it to get that skin.
All of our winners were people involved with the scene. But don't worry, you guys at home, it's not over. You can still be in with a chance to win next week in the competition.
And Invade coming out.
Well, we're actually having a fight breaking out here. Enax getting caught, has that flash and the heal used for the moment. Monk is ignited. He's burning low. Taxon not able to chase up for more as they're stacking up the damage onto Kasing. He's forced to flash away. And XL lose all of their summoners in the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, just over-aggressive. They expected to win off the Brawn passive, but Diabolus instantly go on at Inax, force him out very quickly, and they come out ahead. Monk is able to still secure that red buff with the help of
Krogson actually would have won that trade had Exile gone back. He predicted him to distort back, but unfortunately for him, he didn't.
Just mind games.
It's actually a phase rush Orianna here as well. So looking to be able to disengage from the chains as quick as possible.
It's not as good in the trading against Exile, but it does mean that extra movement speed, you can negotiate team fights so much better. And yeah, if you manage to proc it when the chains are stacking up, can put you in a good position.
All right, well, Monkeys secures himself the Rift Scuttler. Krogson having another trade with Exile this lane. It's going to be fairly bloodthirsty.
Yeah.
Especially in these early stages. Krogson needs to do his best to stay in it. Both gone Corrupting Potion.
Something to note, we have seen the fleet footwork Kaiser coming out from Yusa. So it seems likely he may well lean towards that Storm Razor. Still could go for the Infinity Edge build.
What's the item he went at the beginning of the week when he played Kaiser? I know he played Vayne, didn't he?
Yeah. I did actually speak to Yusa a bit about this build path. And I spoke to him about the reason why it's favored. And it's just the 2-item spike is nicer. Like 3 items when you go the Infinity Edge is really good. But the problem is, when you think about the strength defensive items currently for AD carries, Stopwatch is a huge one. QSS is a huge one. I mean, just building a whole GA is really nice. If you go the Infinity Edge, you really want to get that Infinity Edge, Rage Blade, and then a Zeal item before you're like, now I've got my core. And so by going the Storm Razor into the Rage Blade, you have a nice 2-item spike, you're not tied down to get the 3rd item, and you can itemize defensively and still be really relevant. Because I mean, the Storm Razor is pretty good now. Gives you that Evolve D when you build it on Kaiser, but also the Empowered Energized Auto, which ties in with that fleet footwork. And also, it's just more consistent damage, because Infinity Edge is nice if you get the crit, but if you don't, it's not as useful.
Well, Inax has actually gone to base early, just go and get himself a cull. Wants to just farm up this game as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, this is the problem. You lose those summoners. Yusa Haddo pushing an advantage and quite far ahead in CS. And we said these bot lanes would be out for blood, but Yusa and Haddo not giving them any space to recover from that early invade.
Yeah, Haddo's running that heal as well. Pretty standard from what we've seen recently from our Rakans when they paired up with the Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa goes into the teleport. And then the Sivir, then the Rakan takes the heal.
Yeah, so it still offers that sort of utility, less pressure, but you can see already used to getting a big CS lead in lane. And the same, Kiribros getting ahead in this matchup against Nasus. And I think early levels, Yorick comes out ahead.
Croxon takes a pretty horrible trade here versus Exile. Got the minions to work with as well. Sigil Ignite is on. The cleanse comes down, and Exile does take the ball on the back end, but Monkeys comes in with a knock-up, has got it available. Flash is available to Exile. He distorts in. Taxa's on chains, connect, and now Taxa is going to connect in. But Exile walks it out.
Croxon very confident there. Takes the trade, knows he has the cleanse to evade the ignite damage, and just goes for the aggressive 1v1. It means that Monkeys was able to join and force Exile out of lane, and you pick this LeBlanc because you want to have pressure. So when something like that happens and you're forced back, not exactly the most favorable position.
Does mean Exile did hold his flash though, which was nice for him. Didn't go overly defensive and distort and then flash to safety. Knew that Taxa was coming by, and if he needed to, he could hold that flash. So
interesting that we're seeing the Conqueror Rek'Sai come out. So there's been so much discussion over what is the keystone to go now that Conqueror got nerfed. It's pretty, a lot of people say Hail of Blades, some people say press the attack. The reason a lot of people go on Conqueror is because the only thing they nerfed on the most recent nerf to Conqueror on 9.5.
Oh, an axe, good spell shield.
Was the late game. The early levels, Conqueror is still almost as strong. Level 1 is as strong. And for a few levels after, it's only slightly weaker. So that's why they're still going for the Conqueror, because Rek'Sai is an early game champion. You're not really that worried about the scaling. But I mean, a lot of people are saying Hail of Blades is a better option, or press the attack. But Monk is committing to this Conqueror.
Well, Taxa are just clearing out a few wards here. We're 6 minutes into the game, and both of these teams playing with a lot of respect towards each other. The Summoners are finally back up for that bot lane for XL. And the Ignite will be coming up fairly soon. Same for the cleanse for Krogson and Exile.
So much control going over this Diabolus bot lane. Already an 800 gold lead with no kills to the side of Diabolus. And it just shows the pressure they have bot in this 2v2. And it's a bit worrying for the side of XL. Inax just getting punished for every CS he tries to take here.
XL goes in, goes for the chunk onto Krogson, but misses out on the chains. And now Krogson with that phase rush can just chase in. The shockwave comes in as well. Just chunking Exile out. Does have an extra stack in his corrupting pot and those double dark seals, so should be okay.
But it's a good opportunity. When LeBlanc uses cooldowns, that's your chance to go for an aggressive trade and force her out of lane. So Krogson feels really comfortable now. He's full HP. He's able to shove the wave in and now try and get some control.
You've seen how that phase rush was just gave Krogson the nerve to step forward and just to chase onto Exile. Able to connect that shockwave. Yes, he used that cooldown, but using it for that level of poke was actually good.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is that LeBlanc's damage is very telegraphed. When she goes in and uses a burst cooldowns, if she doesn't connect, or even she doesn't have that much damage on the back of that. So Krogson takes that opportunity to go for an extended trade with this Orianna.
Cleanse is now up for Krogson as it comes up now, and Taxa stepping away. They must have the timer on that, so XL probably know that their opening in that lane is slowly withering away.
Yeah, just missed it now, and they will try and get control of the jungle area over the river and push into the jungle. And this is what you can do when you have a LeBlanc backing you. So much mobility, very dangerous to fight in the jungle. And you can see Monkeys doesn't even want to contest, heads towards to give that blue to Krogson, which couldn't come at a better time if you look at his mana.
Yeah, he really needed that. Didn't actually get to base on the Lost Chapter, unfortunately for him, so big base for him. XL now just pushing in this wave while the blue buff is being picked up. Gonna go get his own blue buff, but he's only got one stack in his corrupting pot, so his sustaining lane will start to suffer a little bit while Krogson still has two. That Ignite, that cleanses up. It's definitely cooling down this game. We had a very dicey beginning to the game. I said it for you.
Thank you. Speaking of dicey things, that trade wasn't as dicey as it could have been.
James did connect though.
You gotta worry about this top lane matchup because Sendo, he picks this Nasus. Jax was open.
Yeah.
He chose to take this matchup into the Yorick. And although he's keeping even now, it feels like Kerberos has had the pressure so far.
Goes in with the Sigil here from Exile, just distorts back to safety. Doesn't have his jungle around at the moment. Curious to see whether or not Sender's going for the Emacs again. He has gone double Dorans, so part of me assumes he's probably going Emacs once again.
It helps to give better wave control. And again, if you're trading with the Yorick...
Okay, right. It's a bit closer than the last game, but the poll has come in. Davalus, according to you guys at home, win by 60% of the voters. Exile gets shockwaved here, but he's going to be fine.
Again, he's going for those aggressive trades, but now Exile hates being in a bit of a comfortable position, and
he's baiting him in, distorts forward. That's going to be the ultimate instant cleanse out, and Exile jumps back out of the fight. That's going to be the on the hunt, thrown down by Inax. The fight is breaking off. Maiden is in as Krogson is getting the concussive blows stacked up. That's going to be the Glacial Fissure. Exile flashes in and finds first blood. Now Monk is low on HP, and it looks like Exile are just going to step away.
Didn't want to go for the ult. Probably would have been able to kill LeBlanc, but didn't want to give over a free kill, potentially to Inax. But Yusin had to move up. It was slower, but they're able to show the wave in. So good rotation from Inax and Xting. And this is what we saw last game. Inax made a good rotation to save the mid lane play. And once again, XL coordinating pretty well.
But the big thing is Sendo's not being shut down, so he's able to farm up. Kerberos walked down to that play, didn't gain anything from it. Sendo got 2 plates in the top lane. So he's actually sitting in a more comfortable position than he was in the last game. And this is great for Anastasis because he just needs to survive the earlier game. Once he starts to get some items under his belt and he can kind of freely stack that Q in lane, he's going to be feeling a lot more comfortable. But we didn't really get to see how the scaling works in this matchup from last game because Sendo just got capped.
I still think Yorick's in a really good position in the later game. He just scales so well. The thing is, though, that you can't just run down the Nasus because he will just trade really well into you with that sustain. But the big thing is about the Maiden. If you have the Maiden, I think that Yorick's going to win it out late. If you don't, then I think Nasus just wins. But you've often seen teams collapse to crush the Maiden, kill it, and then take off the map. So likely to see that happen again from XL. But for now, they're devoting their attention to the bot side.
Well, Rift Herald's going to go down, but they're trying to give Inax some plates here. That will be the first Demolish proc used, and they got a second one available to them as well. As XL just goes in, throws out a Sigil.
He's just constantly applying this pressure on the Krogson. Hasn't let him farm for free for the entire game, but hasn't found a ton. Other than that kill he got in the last exchange with the help from his team.
Oh, 3 members top lane.
Yeah, now with the Rift Herald.
They might actually just try and go for first turret blood here. The race is on. XL 1v1 versus Krogson for the moment. The Rift Herald should get its charge off. You can see Taxa was thinking about going for the play, but this might just be first turret blood going over to XL. They've got that Demolish available to them. You have to cut through this objective fairly easy, and Sendo can do nothing but watch this tower crumble. The race is on. And even though XL have been on that turret for a while, the Rift Herald should be doing so much work for them.
Yeah, there's 1 plate still left. They're close. But I think Daedalus is going to win the race, get the first tower blood, and then they should get a second charge here. They're slightly advantageous trade for Daedalus. The big consolation is that they weren't splitting the gold as much for XL, so a lot more goes over to Inax, who's coming close to finishing off that cull. We're actually just going for a second tower here. Remember, no plating. This should go down pretty quickly.
Sendo needs to look to try and clear this wave out. Haddo's been slowed up for the moment, but can just jump away with his Q.
They don't want to overstay, but they apply a lot of pressure. And now you see the Yorick pushing bot lane. No one there to answer him at the moment. And the thing is, XL just rotated the bot lane top side, but that means like they're forfeiting the dragon. So they're wanting to take this trade of towers, but they're giving up the dragon. It's only a cloud, but even so, I feel like Daedalus is going to be able to trade up in this situation.
Gerb's gone to the bot lane, looking to try and catch this wave here. Got the Maiden as well. Meanwhile, mid lane, plates are starting to go over. Exile is trying to get himself ahead in the goal lead with that first blood. And with those plates, he's probably sitting fairly content. The teleport by Yusa into the top lane. Taxa's found out one. The blast cone's in, and now Taxa's gone onto Yusa. There is a cleanse not available for the moment, and Inax throws out the boomerang blade. The knockup lands onto 2, but Inax gets himself a kill onto Haddo. Monkeys is coming in, gets himself a knockup.
Shockwave!
Massive shockwave! Diabolus looking to come up huge as Exile jumps out of the fight. Kasing is alive, but he goes down for the double double kill. Sendo is slithering away, and Monkeys with a triple kill launches in to finish up the fight. Diabolus come up massive.
XL thought they had the numbers advantage, but so much time was bought by Hado and Yusa. And in the end, the shockwave from Krogston was huge. We're going to be able to watch that back. So Yusa gets stunned, but no one's able to hit. And the great ult from Hado buys on a time. A good knockup as well. He may fall, but now Kerberos turns up, says, welcome to the Coliseum, and sets up a shockwave inside that cage. And from then on, it's just clean up for the side of Diabolus. Senna just joins too late, and it's just free pickings at that point.
Oh, there you go.
Really solid play from Diabolus. And Monk is flexing with that Rek'Sai, picking up 3 kills, which is pretty uncharacteristic for him.
Alrighty, well, Infinity Edge has now been finished off into Inax, but Yusa with that Storm Razor and the pickaxe in his inventory. You can see the colors finished and cashed in now for Inax. So he did get himself a kill in that last fight onto Hado. And with the Infinity Edge, has a serious amount of shove. Taxa maybe just found out here by Hado. They know it's there, not going to steal it away.
Yeah, LeBlanc got a bit too much damage there, but Krogston going to look for a trade here.
They might just try and get their hands on this Cloud Drake.
Yeah, and
First bit goes over.
Tax actually got chunked out there by Krogston, so was no way he was going to come close for that. And Inax should be able to pick up this tower for free on the top side. Kerberos will head over to pick up the wave in return, but Diabolus pushing on the other side, and Sendo, nothing really can do with no flash. Still level 10. And Yusa really getting strong at this point with that Storm Razor heading towards that Rage Blade.
Well, you do see at least the tower goes over for Inax, but Yusa, like you said, able to answer out here with Hado. Gonna be another turret going down in favor of Diabolus. 2 apiece here, but XL are a little bit ahead of the play here. They've got that extra shove and double demolish available with Taxa. Does mean they might be able to get a fair amount of damage dealt to this turret. As Sendo's been caught out, Yusa's putting the damage on. You can see in the picture a fight in the mid lane as well. XR trying to get a kill onto Monkeys. 1v2, not able to do it for the moment, but he goes out. In comes the ult. Monkeys gets himself the shutdown, and a great tunnel away to safety here as they've just got themselves the 1 kill. The turret will go down, and Monkeys is able to escape.
XL trying to play so back and forth there, but in the end, a good read from Krogston. Monkeys pins him down, and then crucially, Monkeys manages to get away off the back end. And then it looked like Krogston could have been in a bit of trouble, but that phase rush came in clutch, and he's just able to run off at XL. Just looked like they're grasping at straws in this LeBlanc. This pick that we said you can apply so much pressure with just really hasn't found it this game. And this is from someone who was the MVP in XL's last game.
You have to be very careful, though. If Monkeys get shut down by either the Civet or the LeBlanc, that's 700 gold in your pocket. Yusa's also worth 450. And we saw this in the Bulldogs game. XL fell behind, there were multiple shutdowns available, and then they got a miracle team fight, and all the gold winners were the right members. And suddenly, a 10,000 gold gap just disappeared in one good team fight. And XL could look to try and do that here if they can get a good pick onto Monkeys. But for the moment, 3 members of Diabolus are grouping up here in the mid lane, and they're looking to accelerate, put the pedal down, and try and take over this game before XL can get into the game.
Yeah, they're going to apply some pressure with Taxa here. Looks like they will have to back off.
Multiple members are in. Big Q comes out, though.
Actually, they're just going to keep pressing forwards. And I mean, Inax isn't here on the Sivir. He's the main form of wave clear for the team, so they're just able to push it down. And more gold goes in their pockets. And you have to feel that second item from Yusa is going to be coming in soon.
It's going to be really, really hard work to deal with that. But Monkeys maybe just getting caught out here. Chains it on, uses the tunnel to root away, but does get caught. Boomerang Blade goes out and comes back. Not enough to get any significant damage onto Monkeys.
They want to kill him so bad, understandably, because getting rid of that Rek'Sai, taking him off the map, means that you get so much gold, and also you can start to get pressure back in the game, because the Rek'Sai just, it feels like he's going to be everywhere with those tunnels. Right now, we head bot side clear, but Hado and Krogston are hanging about. No summoners on either of them right now, so Taxa might look for an engage.
Taxa does have that ultimate available. They're just grouping up around the tower. Hado needs to be a little careful, playing with fire here, but Curve zooming his way in. You see Monkeys also hanging about, so just get a little bit of tower damage done for the moment, and Sendo is going to have to back off.
And with all members on the map, it means Yusa can actually just push that bot lane on his own. I think after that wave, he's going to recall and grab that Rage Blade, and that is a big spike for the Kai'Sa. Inax is on his 2-item spike, but it's not as significant. And this is why you go for this build path, is you want the strength on 2 items. You want to be able to put out more sustained damage. And this is where I feel like Diablos are going to want to start to execute around this Kai'Sa. It's been a while since Krogson's back as well. I feel like he's going to potentially be able to pick up something like an Oblivion Orb or a Needless the Arch Rod if you wanted it.
Level 12 as well on that LeBlanc, on the Orianna, sorry. So level 2 Shockwave available to Krogson.
It's so hard to take down Yusa as well because you have shielding from Krogson, shielding from Hado. You have the shielding from Kai'Sa's ult. It's going to be very difficult for Exile to find that target that he crucially wants to take out, especially when he hasn't been able to snowball this early game. We're coming on almost 20 minutes. Baron is going to be on the cards. Probably not for a while, but it's going to be on the map.
All right, 20 minutes on the clock. Get the rah. In comes the Baron Nashor.
Very defensive game being played right now by XL. They're trying to set this 1-3-1. It's a very weird adaptation from Diablos because they keep the Orianna mid, and they actually send Yusa bot lane to deal with Sendo because I just don't feel like he can get on top of them. And now Kairos could be in trouble here.
They throw the ulti out. He flashes away to safety, and they're still looking for the chase. The ultimate was used by Inax. So 2 for 1 flash.
Kairos gets away, but he loses the Maiden. So a sacrifice you have to make. Does get away with his life, but it does mean he's not going to be able to apply as much pressure coming forwards. And next dragon has spawned. It is another Cloud, I believe, so they will just pick that one up fairly easily for Diablos. That extra movement speed is definitely a pretty big asset. When you're up against a Civic composition, it comes in useful. And the thing is, a lot of people don't rate Cloud Dragons, and yes, they are on the lower end of the spectrum, but in terms of team fighting power, the top dragon is obviously Infernal. But second to that, it's Cloud, because mountains and oceans don't really help you in the fights. That movement speed and combat can come and choose, especially when you have a
phase rush.
Yeah, absolutely. So could make the difference. I mean, look at the build just across from Diablos. They've all just recalled, and look at all those pink wards. And so what does that say to you?
They want to dance around Baron.
They want to dance around Baron. They're going to head over, get control of this area, and potentially look for a pick.
And you can tell, Diablos are itching for a good fight. They know they've got the power, they know they've got the advantage at the moment, and if they can find that perfect fight, they can look just to completely take this game over, because they're not so far ahead that they are just going to be able to walk through XL, but they know at the moment in a team fighting situation, if it's set up right for them, they're going to be able to do some serious work into XL, but they know that they're also worth a lot. They know that if they lose that fight, XL will be able to slingshot themselves ahead
and get back into the game. But big power spikes. The 2-item spike is on Yusa, has been for a while, but the crucial one is you look at that Orianna, now got that Oblivion Orb, Luden's Echo, a lot of damage on that Shockwave.
Inax on his second BF sword, so wondering what he's building towards. Could be the Essence Reaver.
Most likely won't be the Essence Reaver.
Could be GA.
Essence Reaver doesn't build out of BF.
It doesn't anymore. You are right.
Yeah,
Thank you very
so
much.
could well be the Bloodthirster, or it's going to be the GA. Those are the 2 options available to him.
He could just go another Infinity Edge. You know, you don't need the passive.
That'd be a bit questionable.
That would be terrible.
But yeah, and now this is the big thing, is that you have that 2-item spike on Yusa. You don't need to rush more damage now. He picks up that stopwatch, and this is the prime situation for Diablos. They have their carry in a great situation. He's got a really nice item spike. He has that stopwatch in the back of it, and they have the Zeke's Convergence just finished on Hado, so even more damage is going to come off the back of that. I think they're going to be looking for a team fight now, and XL, they have to try and deny them.
Oh, Krogson will get checked out a little bit by these Ricochet Blades.
Singh just got his flash burnt, and a Gauge came out from Monkeys on Hado. Nothing burnt from them, though.
Oh, Sendo's going on to Kerberos here. Tax is coming in. The flash is on Curb. No flash available. Gets locked down, and the CC's enough. Sendo gets the shutdown and the stacks. Thank you very much. Exile dodges away, but not enough. Monkeys takes him out. It's a 1-for-1 globally.
Yeah, just a great move from Diablos to react to that. And that's the thing, as I said, the Yorick can run away from the Nasus, but when the Sejuani's there as well, he can't.
Teleports are on. You can see in the bot lane. Sendo's pushing away. They're looking to group in. The pinch maneuver is coming through, and Diablos unable to actually get themselves onto it, but they need to go for Baron fairly soon because Sendo is working away at those towers. They're going to start it up with this Kai'Sa. They're going to be able to rip through it fairly quick. Turret goes down in the bot lane.
Big thing to watch is there's no mana on Krogson, so this could actually get really scary. He's going to pick up the fruit and get some back, but if this goes to a 50-50,
No ulti on Taxa. The shockwave goes wide. Actually, no, sorry. Hits onto Inax. The jump away. The Void Seeker's coming in. Yusa goes on with the ultimate, but he flashes away to safety. He gets a kill off screen. They're chasing. They're flashing. Bring the screen down. A double kill for Yusa.
On the back end, though, Sendo's going to start hammering at this base, but without the bot lane, Dabless feel confident to go for this Baron, but Exile's coming over, and this could have been a big mistake.
Out. He might have done it. Does able to defend, as you can see Sendo is going to take down that inhibitor in the bot lane. No mana.
I think Kairos you should be able to just take him down here.
Has he got Wither? He's got the Wither. The cage is down. No, it's now down. That Wither's doing a lot of the mists enough to slow. It's a battle of attrition in the bot lane as we're looking towards the action at Baron Nashor, which is a base. Sendo still being chased, still low.
Yusa's actually coming in to cut him off, so Sendo should go down here.
Another cage down. Lisa land the miss. Sendo dodges it this time. They spot him out with the Scryers. That's going to be the Void Seeker. Killer Instinct not available, but Yusa should be able to pick this kill up nice and simple as he eases in forwards. Sendo tries to turn it around. It's not going to happen.
That empowered First Order as well from the Storm Razor brings us slow in, so able to pick him up, but still. Dabless, they did get a lot of kills there, but you have to question Exile did find the favorable bot lane inhibitor. That split push is going to be a real threat. And with Baron on the cards, that is the best inhibitor to take down for the team. And now, they're just going to start up on the Baron. No TP available for Yusa or Kerberos. They're not going to take it right now. Potential still there. Mounting the next dragon on the table. And with that amount of play around Baron here, that's definitely going to be a big one.
I think it'll be hotly contested. Sendo coming up in 15 seconds. His teleport is available to him as he's now got himself the Raptor's Cloak and the Bramble Vest. Going in for the full tank Nasus, just like we saw him play in the last game. But this is going to be the Mountain Drake getting started up by Dabless. So it's going to be able to take this down pretty quickly here with the Maiden and the Ghouls from Curb.
Yeah, next dragon will be another mountain. So again, a big objective for Dabless to take. They get their hands on it.
Vision denial, vision clear coming through for Dabless.
Very tanky members on the side of Excel. You got to look at that Nasus and that Sejuani, really bulky at this point in the game. And Dabless have a much squishier composition. And when you look at a Sivir, those ricochets really sting. There's no one who really can soak them. And so that's why the team fight has to be really clean from Dabless. But for now, it just feels like the game's slowed down a bit. Sendo's split pushing the bot lane again. They're looking for the window. And you can see 4 members around mid for Dabless. They want to find a pick. But I feel like XL aren't going to give them that opportunity so easily.
Curb has to go deal with this bot wave as there's 2 super minions down there for him to work his way through. But teleport's still on cooldown for him. Could be a point for XL to punish him for the moment. But as I said, it's just remaining in that bot lane, constantly working these waves in, knowing that his teleport advantage might be enough for him. So he's closing in on that level 16 mark as well.
So it looks like Inax just picked up the BF for some extra damage on that item spike, but he is going towards the Essence Reaver now. Most likely will build that BF into a GA or a Bloodthirst Layer, or maybe he just got the build wrong.
Yeah, maybe just do what I did and just forgot.
Yeah, you know, that'd be a bit of an XT. But either way, we'll be picking up that Essence Reaver later on. And now, Runan's acquired by Yusa. We talked about the 2 item spike, it's big. The 3 item spike isn't anything to complain about.
It'll be fairly nasty. As Sendo continues to try and push in and get control of this bot lane. Wave is stacking up in XL's favor here. Dabless looking for that fight. They just won the last one at Baron. They want to try and do it again, but this time Exile is here.
Bear in mind, it's still a 2.5k goldie.
Oh, they've got Croxton. He goes in. That's going to be the quickness onto the charm. A shockwave comes out by Croxton. Absolutely huge, but the heal is enough. As Sendo joins into the fray. He's looking to slam them down, but they're all so low. Nobody's died yet, and Sendo is on the front line. He has to flash out for the fight for the moment. They're trying to get that kill, but they're unable to.
How
a massive
no
engage,
die?
and no one died.
It's so back and forth. Both teams had moments where they look like they had advantages, but no one goes down, and it shows how close it is between these 2 teams.
Oh, so close.
I mean,
Inax
what a good game.
Looking to get his hands onto that turret, but he can't take down this tier 1 quite yet. Really struggling to get this objective. And
look at the gold values on those bounties across Dabless. I mean, if XL had found a couple of kills in that fight, it really could have turned things in their favor, but none came from it. Both teams just able to reset with no threat on that Baron.
Fantastic disengage from Diabolus the moment that fight turned on its head. The Essence Reaver has now been finished for Inax. He's got even more cooldown reduction. I think this puts him at about 75%.
75% crit, yeah.
Crit. So that's pretty dirty.
The amount of AD he has, because he has, I believe it's 65 from the Essence Reaver, 80 from the Infinity Edge, and then another 50? 40 from the BF Sword. That is a lot of attack damage on the back of those autos. And with a Rapid Fire Cannon, one big auto on a squishy member of Diabolus, you could really put some hit in.
He just did a 750 crit to a minion. Sendo?
Poor minions.
That's about 480 stacks, I believe. Which is
A fair amount.
a lot.
Yeah.
Hasn't got the Triforce, but it's still got the Iceborne for the empowered auto on the Sheen.
Yeah, and it means it has better team fighting. He is very tanky. You saw in that team fight he survived for a long time. The Wither's going to come in huge if he gets onto a key target like Yusa. And if he gets close enough to hit someone, he really cuts through them. The opportunity just wasn't quite there in that last fight.
Well, he's been pushed in the bot lane for the moment. You can see XL grouping up, trying to get control around the Baron. They've got complete vision denial from Diabolus, but Diabolus are looking to clear out the wards on their route through.
Crucially, Blue Trinket still available for Yusa, so when they feel it started, they can use that to check. So not being too scared. They actually go for a recall right now on Krogston and Mirabros. Pick up a Void Staff. So that's a very big power spike. He bought that straight up.
Yeah.
He had Ludens from Rat and he just straight up bought that. So that's a big spike. And that might swing things into Diabolus' favor of this next team fight because Exile isn't really on a great position in items.
He's on components. He's got a Fiendish Codex. He's got a Neela's Large Rod, and he's got that Oblivion Orb. He's not finished an item since his first item.
And Krogston just hit level 16. So that max rank Shockwave on the back of that 3-item spike, that could do a lot more than it did last time. Because we saw it hit the tankier members, and it just couldn't pop them. Now it really could turn the tides of a team fight.
Oh, well, the Mountain Drake spawning up, but Sendo's basing, looking to try and get his items. Does have that teleport if they want to go for this, but Curve is in. That's going to be the knock-up. Good ultimate onto Monkus to deny it, but XL just going to have to give up this objective. They don't want to go for it, and the Mountain Drake goes down. That's 2 Mountain Drakes to Diabolus with a Kai'Sa.
Yeah, it's going to be such a fast Baron if they get their hands on it. And crucially, Diabolus made the reset earlier, so when XL made it, it was when the dragon was on the table and they able to get that objective out. Now with 4 dragons for the Elder, Exile has to be a bit careful here.
Uses the distortion. Monkus is looking to chase. He's been spotted out. He pings back.
He just ran
uses the ultimate. Yusa, the flash is down. The fight's breaking out of the mid lane. Glacial Fisher's on. Curve is tanking up the front line. The Maiden's doing a lot of damage, and Inax remains untouched. They jump into Exile, who just stalked away. Yusa's looking to chase, but he goes down. Monkus takes him out 6-0-1 on the Rek'Sai. Disgusting play coming out of the Diabolus jungler, but now XL looking to try and make a play onto Krogston, unable to get it, but the Baron is getting started up already. Inax throws down the Scryers, but not in the right position. It's half HP.
Monkus is so low, though.
Does have the ability to get over the wall. The health bars are low onto Monkus. There's a blast cone. He goes over the wall. He joins in. The quickness, the knock-up, everything gets thrown down. 2k HP. The Ricochet is ripping through Diabolus. 2,100 HP. Taxa goes golden. He comes out. He can't get the smite in time, and Taxa jumps away. XL do not get the Baron, and the Shockwave connects onto Sendo. Krogston gets slowed down. The health bars for XL are just disgustingly low, and Diabolus unable to chase for more, but they get the Baron buff, and they might look to close this.
Really good patience from Diabolus there. It looked really dicey when Monkus was that low, but he held on. He just sat there and waited until Taxa came in. And then as soon as that happened, no more damage went on the Baron. They had really good discipline. They kept it at high enough HP that he couldn't smite it. And then it was only when Taxa went golden that he couldn't use his smite. They took that opportunity to secure it. And locking that objective up is going to make a huge difference here. There's still a gold lead on Inax in the AD carry role, but it's not much. Everywhere else, the gold is in the advantage of Diabolus.
Have to see what Inax is working towards now as his next item. I assume he's trying to close out on that GA, but he might just go for something like a Phantom Dancer and look to just get as much crit as possible. Hado jumps in. That's going to be the on the hunt used just to disengage Kasing.
What I really like is Hado is so willing to go in with his grand entrance, but not use the ult, just to apply pressure and force cooldowns. He did it before and got Tax's ult. He does it here and gets Inax's. And now the teamfight potential of XL has gone down significantly, but they need to look for something here if they're going to keep their base alive.
Sendo is in that top lane, looking to split push away, but the siege is starting up. The teleport's there. Hado throws down the grand entrance, but just steps away for the moment. Inax clearing away these waves. He has himself the Vampiric Scepter, so he's looking for the lifesteal. Sendo now pushing in, but Baron buff recalls are just too big, and Sendo's going to have to base.
Yeah, so Yusa has picked up that Zhonya's Hourglass. So this is something else he has a tendency to do. It's because this build is less focused on particularly going for AD. He feels comfortable, and on Kai'Sa, when you have such versatile damage profiles, you can go for a bit of AP, and that Zhonya's is one of the strongest defensives in the game, and it's going to make it so difficult for XL ever to take him down.
XL still haven't taken down that turret.
It's still there, it's standing strong, and that's the power of Krogson on this Orianna.
4 minutes 20 left on that inhibitor. The blue buff getting cleared away here by Krogson. Big gold lead over to Diabolus so far.
They're in control, by all means, but still, they have a 4-item Sivir on the side of XL. This is a point where the power curve starts to shift over to her. She can make a massive impact, but she needs to free hit in these team fights.
Kasing goes in, Monkeys gets caught out, they flow down the Glacial Fissure, the knockups, everything, but Hado only loses a sliver of HP. Kerberos has been caught, now Tax is low HP for the moment. XL jumps into the backline, can't quite get the combo off, and Inax is being ripped through by the main. They're jumping into the fight, 2 members go. That's going to be a kill for Monkeys, on to 1. Shockwave only lands onto Kasing, but he is just getting melted by Monkeys. Sendo versus Krogson in the bottom side, so it's Sendo, Kerberos in the bot side as he gets himself the kill. Now they're chasing. Yusa jumps in, gets himself another one. Inax is low HP, a triple kill for Monkeys. They chase for more. The boomerang blade comes out and Inax will go down. It's the full ace for Diabolus with 20 seconds left on Baron. They may have done this. They may have retained their spot at the top of the tower and secured themselves a spot at the European Masters.
Just flawless play coming out from Diabolus. That team fight was perfect. They found everything they needed to, and he said there could have been life from XL, but Diabolus just did so much there and proved why they are the #1 team in the UKLC.
Well, they take down that win, the Nexus falls, and with that, Diabolus remain at the top of the tower, and they win in points now off that win.
I believe, yeah, they have secured first from that. So they guarantee a spot at EU Masters,
yep.
I believe, because of the head-to-head.
The head-to-head versus Fnatic means Fnatic, even if they tie with them, can't win
Yeah,
that.
and Fnatic can only get 5 points next week, which would put them at 19, which equalizes, so that's the only way anyone can catch them, and again, they'd win head-to-head, so Diabolus will be our first guaranteed representative at EU Masters, at least in the play-ins. Do they need 1 more point?
I don't think they need 1 more point.
Why?
All right, I'm going to double check that because I'm fairly certain. We literally had a conversation.
They're on 19.
Yeah, they have 2 wins over Fnatic.
The closest is Fnatic on 14, right?
Yep. There's no way. They've done it.
Okay,
anyway, we'll have that discussion. We'll tweet that out in a minute to be sure. Nick told me I've been lied to. I've been lied to by the person who gave me that information. What is going on? Literally, I was told by the same person who's now turned against me.
I'm disappointed.
I'm disappointed. Diabolus, you're not done yet. You still need to make sure you get yourself that win.
Yeah,
are you trolling me right now?
I had a whiteboard. I wrote this out.
For you guys at home, sorry, production have just been trolling us for the last couple of minutes. Yes, Diabolus, you have got yourself a spot at the European Masters, and it was damn earned. They have played their hearts out this UKLC. They have been playing their hearts out for the last year for this spot, and I'm really happy to see them qualify for it.
I think as well, in that last game, it wasn't the typical XL we saw where they really fell apart. They had smart ideas. They tried to bring it to Diabolus, but Diabolus just played it better, and that team fight was flawless. I don't think we have heard the MVP yet, but I mean, there's no doubt it's going to be Monkeys because he was so good on their XI, got so many kills, and they prioritized it as a first pick. I wasn't too sure on that because it's very confident to say I want to take that, but he just absolutely delivered, was huge, and managing to shut down a LeBlanc. LeBlanc is not hard to shut down with the mobility, and he just found her again and again.
Okay, so with that, Diabolus remain at the top of the tower. Monkeys is going to be the guy who gets MVP. He had a fantastic game. 9-0-2 on that Rek'Sai. 73% kills participation. He had a bloody good game.
The vision score is huge as well. If we compare that, in the last game that Taxa got MVP, his vision score was about 1.1. And we're looking at a 1.8 for Monkeys. He had so much impact on the map. And I'm going to say, I think he's the best jungler in the league.
It's not done here for Diabolus, though. While they've remained themselves at the top of the tower, there's 1 more week to go. And yes, they've secured themselves a spot at play-ins at the European Masters. But if they can win the playoffs, which will be next weekend, they actually just get themselves straight into the group stages.
Which is a much better situation.
A much more coveted situation. And for a team like Fnatic, for a team like XL, and for a team like MNM, they need to either play for points, just so they can be second highest in points and secure playoffs, or they have to actually just win the whole thing to be able to get
But this means one crucial thing is that one of these LEC sister teams will not be going to EU Masters.
Yeah, that's really big. I mean, there's still a chance that neither of them go. M&M could have a miracle run next week and do a fantastic game. But let's have a little look at the scoreboard, seeming as we were getting trolled earlier. And we can show you guys exactly where we are sitting. Diabolus locked in 3-time Tower Championship, and they are secured as our #1 team in points here at the UKLC. Fnatic rising on 14 points, trying to get themselves at least locked in at second, so to secure themselves playoffs.
So the maximum amount a team can get per week is 5 points. So Fnatic could get to 19 as well, but they would lose the head-to-head. They still will want to secure as much points as possible because the positions between them, XL, and M&M are still up in the air. And that is just talking about our top 4 teams. The bottom 5 very much are still playing because bottom 2 will go to relegations.
Yeah.
So they still have to fight it out for that.
So, I mean, you want to lock yourself a spot where Enclave are, because Enclave are very happy. They're locked in 5th now.
I don't know about very happy.
I mean, you're not going to be relegated. You skip...
Complacent.
Yeah, I mean, you skip the first round of Forge of Champions, so they're feeling quite comfortable. But let's have a little look at our bracket for next week's games. We'll be starting out Barrage versus Fnatic Rising. Then Darkspawn have to challenge M&M. Bulldogs versus Enclave, and then Phelan versus the loser of the rematch between XL and Diabolus.
Yeah, so a lot of heated games. And all these teams still playing because, you know, some are avoiding relegation, some are looking to get better spots for the seed in the playoffs. Because remember, if Diabolus are the team to fear, you don't want to go up against them. 4th place will match up against Diabolus. And the thing is, if you end up 2nd or 3rd and you win and get to the finals, then you're guaranteed a spot at EU Masters. Because if Diabolus win all of playoffs, their play-in spot that they've earned today will go to the 2nd place team in playoffs. So you really want to make sure you get as close as possible to that #1 spot in playoffs.
It's still all to fight for here around the top. While Diabolus are sitting very content, they've at least got themselves the European Masters. They want more. Yeah. I mean, you're looking at Kerberos. He's been going for this kind of top spot for a while. I think the last time he made a finals was versus you, when you reverse swept him on XL. So
hell yeah.
I mean,
but it's great to see because I mean, Kerberos and Yusa coming into the offseason as well. I feel like they weren't ranked super high in terms of the sort of free agents in the UK, but they got on a roster with Hado and Monkeys, who they've really been solid. They've been together for a while, and I really like this support jungle duo. But Kerberos and Yusa, I feel like they've always had that potential, but they haven't really shined. And this is a roster where they've really, I mean, the complaint for Kerberos was consistency. That last game, he looked a lot more consistent. And then Yusa has just gone from strength to strength. And I feel like being with a veteran like Hado in the bot lane has done so much for him. And then that's not to forget Krogson, who has been a monster. And he's been in the UK scene for a long time, has jumped in and out of it, but he is just looking so confident. And considering how much Exile really styled in the game before that, and then in this one, it looked like Krogson was just in control. He played the Orion to LeBlanc fine, had a CS lead, and got huge shockwaves throughout.
Next week is going to be one of the most exciting weeks we've had. I think day 1 from this week was fantastic. Day 2 was, there was so much on the line. You could see it with the teams. But next week, we still got 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Sorry, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Got my counting right. Up for grabs. There's a lot still on the lines to do with that. You've still got the relegation spot as well. These teams at the bottom do not want to be getting relegated. But if there were any games that you missed, you can head over to our YouTube channel, LVP UK. You can catch up on all of the games from this week, last week, and even if you're somehow that far out of date, Forge of Champions, our previous tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I want to go watch back today's games because there were some really good ones.
I want to watch yesterday's game. I want to watch Bulldog versus XL.
That was a good one.
Hands down my favorite game of the season. I want to look over the
team fights slower because we go through them sometimes. Sometimes it's time for replay, sometimes there isn't. But sometimes I just want to go through it in slow-mo and look at the exact little mechanics that come through. Just a great performance, though, from Diabolus to close it out. And
if there's any games from today that you felt particularly passionate about and you want to let us know, you can head over to our Twitter at LVPUK. Use that hashtag UKLC to get in touch with us about all of the games. And after the show has ended, we will once again do our vote for our unsung heroes. So 4 players who didn't get MVP today, but maybe deserved it. We'll put a vote up on Twitter, and you guys at home can let us know who you think maybe is your MVP, the people's champion. Who's your
my
MVP?
MVP is?
Excandral. Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Not right now. That's the Spider-Man meme. I like that one.
Yeah.
I know my stuff.
You know
anyway.
Anyway, Do you want to say it or should I say it?
Do you know what? I'm going to say it. Guys, next week on Wednesday and Thursday, we have the UKLC as per normal. But on Saturday and Sunday, it is playoffs and finals. Everything will be decided. Everything will be coming to an end for our first tournament here in the UK since we moved.
Yeah, I can't even be sad about it because it's been such a great run. I've loved every
quick.
minute. It has gone quick. It's been action-packed, though.
It's been action-packed indeed, but we are still not done. So next week, we will be back with week 7 of the UKLC. Thank you very much for joining us, and until then, we'll see you later.
See you next week.